Hello out there. Welcome back to Table Talk, Discussion and Discourse. I, as always, am your host, Alejo, aka Great95. Passing it down.
And I, as always, am your faithful host, Aiden, aka ItsSneakyAdolf. Coming at you live from Discord Towers. Passing it on down the line to our third host.
And I am never your unfaithful host,
Ooh.
Boo. So yeah, that's it.
Okay, cool.
Alejo.
Sorry, you said,
Link.
as always, I'm your faithful host, so I had to...
Something, yeah. Fair enough.
Anyway.
Yeah, so, today...
Player shit!
We're gonna talk about player shit. Yeah. Hopefully, it's good shit. I mean...
And hopefully it has nothing to do with Roll20.
Yeah, you mean taking 20, yeah.
Oh, yeah, taking 20, my bad.
Yeah.
Roll22.
No. Well...
I actually, if we're going to be discussing taking 20, I just wanted to throw out, I saw his video, I believe it was 5 monsters to use against your players.
Yes.
And I really liked it.
It was fine.
Okay.
Primarily because I think it's because he used like 3 of my favorite monsters.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So I may be a bit biased.
That's fair.
What were the monsters?
They were the Rock.
Yeah, the Rock. Yeah.
The Rock?
Yeah. Or
Yeah,
Roke.
the big bird.
Oh, a rock. Okay, as in the giant bird. Okay, yeah.
Yes.
The Alep.
Yes.
Okay.
And the it's the big robot that picks up dead bodies.
Cadaver Collector.
Cadaver Collector, yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I saw that video too, and it is it's fine. It's inoffensive. It's just legitimately I think it's fine. I think it's good, honestly.
I actually really liked it.
I didn't find it particularly like amazing. I found it good.
Yeah.
He did alright.
I just think it's funny. It's like, the video was fine, which instantly makes it one of his best videos because it's not an absolute steaming pile of pig shit.
Yes.
Starting off a bit harsh, Boo.
That last video where he was talking, this is what the designers intended.
Yeah.
That pissed me the fuck off.
No, that was not great.
Yeah, that made me very angry, like in an instant.
That is what I describe as suboptimal.
Yeah.
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 Before we go too much further as well, I do want to make a couple of things clear as well. For those of you out there who want to get more involved in this podcast and like maybe submit questions or topics or such, we have several ways of doing this. Obviously, you can come to the YouTube channel. You can come and comment. You can use the discussion page that I think still exists that no one uses anymore. But like, hey, it's a thing. Send us in an email, because I have the email on the YouTube page as well. There's also now an official Table Talk Twitter, Table Talk D&D, and...
See, I will follow that.
Okay. Alright. Cool. I've started that, and I've got it. I've got a tweet deck out. Like, I've got tweet deck up now so that I can like look at it all the time because I have nothing better to do with my life. And
is there a way that people can fax in questions?
Faxes? No, unfortunately, not yet. Sorry.
Yeah. We're a little behind the times.
It's true.
All right. Well, Alejo, I don't mean to like jump on your ass, but we do need to be able to interact with all of our fans.
It's true. It's true.
Including the ones that are extinct.
I would rather not exclude people.
That's fair. Yeah, fair enough. But yeah,
we fear exclusivity.
That's fair. But yes, that
Like,
is
how dare you?
a
Yeah.
lot of what we have available to us right now. I'm working on getting more. We're available on quite literally most major podcasting services. So yeah, write in, folks. We'll see it someday. Hey. But yeah,
Do you have a PO box for people to send fan art?
no, they can tweet that. they can do a lot of things with
But
that.
not the censored, not the explicit shit.
Yeah,
Oh,
where's
Not
the
true.
Rule 34.
NSFW art? Yeah,
What do you
I want to see
mean?
that too.
What do you mean? That
I
can
meant what I
also
said.
that can also be tweeted to the account. It's fine.
Okay.
But yes, if you guys could join in the watch together, we can get on our way here.
I'm already here.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah.
Oh. I'm waiting on that third guy.
I don't even have a Twitter, man.
No, for the watch together.
Oh. Okay. Oh, my bad.
Oh, yeah,
Where
that's
is
good.
it?
It's a pinned tweet or pinned tweet. Hello, pinned message in the thing. Top of the.
I made a whole dedicated channel to it.
There's also the dedicated channel to it in our Discord server.
Ah, there it is. My bad. Okay.
It's okay.
Sorry.
We're on the ball today, boys. Yeah.
I'm sleepy because I just ate a whole bunch of ravioli and it was really good.
Nice. All
All
right.
right.
So this is brought to us by WASD20, I think is the channel here. It is called 5 Tips for New D&D Players. I found this guy while oops, that's strange. I'm gonna be fixing this while I talk a little bit. There we go. But yes, I found this while I was looking for things. I found his channel before, and I found one of his videos to be particularly alright. So I figured, why not look into this?
Yeah.
See
Do
what his
something good
tips
for
are.
once.
Yeah, see what his tips are for players, and then we'll go from there. Okay. Here we go.
Hey everybody, Nate here from WASD20. Today I've got for you 5 tips for especially new Dungeons & Dragons players. But these are also tips that probably could be good for anybody. Alright, let's commence with the tips. Tip number 1 for new players to Dungeons & Dragons is be prepared. Don't forget to bring your dice, your character sheet, pen or pencil, maybe some extra paper for taking notes on, like a good player, and all that stuff. If your DM is providing some of this stuff, that's fine, but maybe consider bringing some of your own just in case, just to help your DM out. They always appreciate that. And they always love it when players start to take more responsibility and ownership of this stuff themselves. When you leave the house, double check, triple check. Don't forget that character sheet. There's nothing worse than getting to the table and realizing that one of your players doesn't have a character sheet. If you struggle to keep track of that sort of thing and you're not very organized, you could even ask your DM to hold on to it for you. I do that for my players. It's not a problem. Or maybe get a brightly colored folder of some kind, a color you don't use for anything else. Make it hard for yourself to lose that thing.
Okay, so let's.
I would just like to add on.
Go on.
Oh, sorry, you roboted out super hard there.
Oh.
I would just like to add on as like the longtime scribe of any party that I'm usually a part of. Yes, absolutely take notes. Please don't make 100% of the note taking be on me.
Yes.
Because your party scribe will invariably miss something.
Yes.
And that something may be very handy to know.
Yes.
I would also say, as a DM, definitely what I like to do sometimes for my group, and we haven't done it as much lately, but a cool thing to do is maybe everyone like brings some sort of food.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I
bring like a bag of chips or some candy or
yeah, I would also say there's a couple other things that you can do to do the whole be prepared with your sheet. If you have a copy of it that you can put on a file, like an actual PDF file. There are many ways that you can find it by just Googling a fillable PDF version of whatever edition you're running or going to go through. Try to get another copy of that and get that to your DM. I know I have needed to in the past when I've actually forgotten my sheets. Had to go into my like Discord chat with my DM and go and download it again. That way I can just have it there. A couple of times it hasn't worked for some reason of like it didn't save that I had all my stuff on it, but regardless, it's another way. Like put it on your drive maybe as well. You know, if you have a Google Drive or a OneDrive or whatever drive, you know, cloud drive you have. It's a good way to have that prepared.
Give me 1 second real quick, guys. I'll be right back in. I'm just gonna update Discord real quick and hope that resolves the fact that you guys keep dropping out for me.
Okay.
Oh, okay. And then something that I've done recently is I went on Amazon and I actually bought myself a refillable leather notebook. And they're actually, no, not notebook, a leather like journal, essentially.
Right, yeah.
And they're like super cheap. I think I got mine for like $10, something like that. And then you can get a whole bunch of, essentially what it is, it's like, it's just a leather journal. And inside there's a parts of the book where you can essentially slot in blank notebooks, and you can get refills that are just these blank notebooks. And so you can have this one book and then just have notebooks like, this is my D&D characters notes, these are my Cthulhu characters notes, these are my whatever characters notes. And so if you are the kind of person who likes to take notes, you can have all your notes from all your different characters excuse me, all your different characters notes in this one handy little book, and it's really, really nice.
How are you doing, Aiden?
I'm here.
Okay, cool. Hopefully
that's
it's
all
a
we
little
asked.
Better. It's true. Another thing that he hasn't mentioned though, that I would highly recommend if you are able to, and if you have it, get your player's handbook. Bring your player's handbook.
Yes.
Bring a monster manual if you have it as well, especially if you're a druid.
Yeah.
You really want to be able to have the references there just in case. In case you forget something, like how something works, in case the DM forgets or doesn't have the monster manual able to give to you in order to like look at your, I don't know, little pet that you have or your beast shapes that you have, wild shapes. Just, you know, a lot of preparation is good.
Yes.
Never under prepare. I would say.
Yes.
And make sure to bring a bunch of pencils. Come on.
And erasers.
Yes.
So actually, funny story about that in particular.
Yeah.
I have this horrible habit of losing pencils.
Okay.
I literally will bring a pencil bag to D&D, and I will just miraculously, I will lose them all.
Okay.
And I will invariably steal pencils from my players.
Yeah.
And then lose them as well.
Yes.
And there's a constant flow in and out of pencils in my direction. To the point where one of my players, the barbarian, has literally taken to taking a pencil, like a cheap, like fairly bad pencil, that he calls the decoy pencil, so that when I'm looking for a pencil and I see one and I just grab that one, I'm not taking his pencil.
That's amazing.
And last week, he points out, he's like, that right there's, it's like, I got the decoy pencil, you can't take mine. And he takes his pencil, which is a yellow-tipped mechanical Bic pencil, and he puts it underneath his dice tray, puts his dice tray on, and then like slots it into the table.
Nice.
And I'm like, all right, that's fair enough. And towards like the end of the session, I'm literally looking for a pencil, and I look down, and there is a yellow-tipped
Jesus
mechanical pencil on the page of my notebook, and I go, cool. And I write down a quick note with it, and I'm like fiddling around with it for most of the session, just keeping my hands on it.
Yeah.
And at the end of the session, my barbarian goes, "Ha! The decoy pencil worked." And me being the smartass I am, I just go, "Are you sure about that?" And he takes his dice tray out and like looks down, and the pencil is gone.
How? How does this happen?
I don't know. I never took it. And, like he's like, there's no point that like he went to the bathroom where like, and I was still in the room.
Right.
Like there was no point at which I had a chance to steal the pencil, but regardless, at the end of the session, his pencil was missing from his dice tray, and I don't know how I got the pencil, because it's not the one I brought, because the one I brought is blue.
That's so good.
I handed it to him, and he's like, "You fucking thief! How did you do that?"
Right,
and I'm like, "Can't tell you."
See, I'm
I don't know.
I'm the weirdo who brings pencils that you have to sharpen. Like,
oh, okay.
And I have my own sharpener and stuff now. I actually went out and just bought a sharpener because I was like, you know what, I kind of need this. But I have that, and the thing that gets passed around for me is my big eraser. I have one of those huge erasers that even just on the front of it says "for big mistakes." And that has caused many a joke. It's great. But yeah, I thankfully, I haven't lost any of my 4 pencils yet, I think.
That's good.
It might have been swapped out with another one. I'm not sure. All right.
And since I always use digital sheets and things like that, so pencils aren't usually an issue for me.
Fair enough. There you go.
Yeah. Until I start using this journal, then I'll probably start losing pencils.
It's a curse, man.
Tip number 2 is know your character sheet, but don't look at it too much. So I like it when players have a general sense of their character's abilities. They kind of have an idea what their spells do and things like that. But what I don't like is when it's a player's turn in combat, they look at their character sheet and they're going down the list almost trying to check off, okay, I've used that, maybe I can use this, and you know what I mean, right? Now, there's not necessarily anything wrong with that, but what it can often do is break immersion. What I want players to do, and this is just my style, is to think about what would my character do. And sometimes that might fit with an awesome spell or ability, but sometimes it might actually be, I charge and tackle, and that might bring some mechanical disadvantage. And that's okay, because you're thinking like a real living and breathing sentient being in this game world, rather than a collection of stats and spells. So that might be a style thing, but that's something I encourage you to do. Sometimes as a player, look away from your character sheet for a while and just think about, what would my character do?
Now, I actually do that from time to time. It's mostly in combat because I typically play characters that have a lot of mechanical depth. Like, I like to play wizards, I like to play artificers and like archers and things like that. Things that people that use a lot of tools, even in relation to combat. And so whenever I get into a tough spot in combat, I always it's like, okay, this whole time I've been attacking, I've been casting spells. Do I have any items that might help me? It's like, okay, I've got rope. Can I use that for anything? No, not really. Can I use my bedroll? No. That's pretty much the only way that I do it, at least that I can think of at the moment. I might do other things, but that's usually why I do that.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna it's not an issue usually if you're just looking over your sheet just to try to familiarize with what you're doing. It slows it down a little bit, but I feel like it's fine usually as long as you know the basics of what your character can do.
Yeah.
Right? Like I I know of one of my fellow players during my Wednesday games who every time we're in combat, they're a monk, and I'm over here going like, all right, sitting, waiting, listening to what they're doing. They're like, I attack. I'm like, okay, cool, that's good. And then they take a few minutes to then think of like, they don't think about their bonus action as much. They don't like know what key really does. To be fair, it's more like I don't think they've had the chance to really like look it over very much because they're kind of busy, unfortunately. But every now and again I'm over here and I sit right next to them and I'm like, so you have a bonus action, right? And they're like, yeah, well, yeah, and I'm like, so you could like spend a key point to do like 2 more attacks, right? They're like, yeah.
Say the words, monk.
Say the words, monk. Flurry of blows. Yeah. But I try not to do that too much now because I'm like trying to get out of the habit of going like, well, you have all of this stuff. But at the same time, I feel like, hey, you should at least know some of the core bits.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to just hand your players the solutions to the problems, but they do need to be able to. They need to know their own abilities.
Exactly. And like,
yeah.
Oh, go on.
Go on.
No, you go.
No, you're in the middle of your point. I was going to start my own point.
I see. Well, I was actually gonna go on a bit of a tangent, but that's connected slightly. Of like, I also will keep an app open for like spells. Because I'm not encyclopedic most of the time with everything. When people ask me how much Cure Wounds does, I'm like D8 plus Wisdom, haha, or whatever your spellcasting modifier is, and I recite spells that I know when people ask me them, and I'm like, haha, and they're like, how do you remember this? I'm like, it's a curse. But
yeah,
but I do have an app that I use that you can search. I don't know. We're not sponsored by this, but I will tell you guys what the app is because it is actually fantastic and I use it every day.
Yep.
It is called give me a moment here.
It's like the D&D 5e spells, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the one that's got like the weird dragon making an S kind of.
Oh no, mine's the one. It's red and has a gold feather in the
Yes, Boo has the one.
Oh yeah.
D&D D&D spell 5e.
Yeah, and it's listed in the actual like Play Store as Spell List D&D 5th edition. It's very strange because that's what I was looking for because that's what people need to search in order to find it.
Hey, I have that one too. Actually,
yeah, there you go.
It's really awesome.
It is so good. It allows you. I even paid for the little expansion that it gives you to like have unlimited characters on it to like give spells to each of the characters.
Oh,
nice. Which is just it is absolutely worth it. And you can just add the spells in. It even lets you put in how many spell slots you have, I think, as well. It lets you choose from all the subclasses, all the classes, everything. It is,
and it has all the spells from all the different books, like Xanathar's Guide and all that.
Yeah,
it's
it
awesome.
is so good, and so I'll have that open next to me so that I can reference whatever spells I need. But if you don't have that, I mean, just have your PHB, open to whatever skills you have. Because I did that for when I was a monk actually as well. I would, have the book open so that I knew exactly what the things are. Like I knew what they were, but I wanted to know exactly how they worked, right?
Yeah.
At a quick glance. So
I personally don't really mind as much when a player wants to make sure that what they're doing is the best thing for combat. One of the things I do definitely recommend to my players is when it's your turn, you should pretty much already know because you should be spending time thinking how do I want to optimize my turn in combat while it's still two characters away from you. And that's typically the strategy that I always employ so that when it is my turn in combat, I know exactly what I'm going to do. And if I am studying my character sheet while it's my turn, it's because I've been studying my character sheet for a while now.
Right.
However, yeah, I don't really mind when my players take extra time to study their character sheet in combat, so long as they're not taking like too long.
Yeah.
I'll give everyone like a good like 30 seconds or so
Oh yeah.
before I'm like, all right, come on, what you doing?
Yeah.
And this is actually the part where I differ from you guys a bit, because I don't have an encyclopedic knowledge of all of the spells and stuff like that. I know most generally what each one does, like what Blade Ward does,
Yeah.
Burning Hands, you know, like stuff like that, Spiritual Guardians and all that. But I may not necessarily know exactly what all the dice are. So my rule of thumb, typically when it comes to what spells my players know and what they have the spell slots for, I tell my players, track your own spell slots. I trust you guys to be honest. Track your own abilities of what like your classes can do. So like if you're say a bear totem barbarian and you pull out this one niche thing that you got at level 3 and we're now level 6 and that you've not really used since then, chances are I've totally forgotten that you could do that. But if you pop that out right now and you're like, oh, I can do this because I'm a bear totem or barbarian, I'll be like, hell yeah, do so.
Yeah.
Um, and that's a thing where as a DM, my style is far more lax with that. There are definitely some DMs that will have every single one of their players' character sheets and spell lists like memorized, and like hats off to them. Their brains are bigger than mine. I'm usually far too busy to like bother with that. So I
you're a
just
Morty DM versus them being Rick DMs.
oh yeah. I mean, I still watch Rick and Morty, so I am still at 3,000 IQ.
It's
Yes.
true.
But
Yeah.
my IQ is used in like different areas. It's sort of like RAM.
Yeah.
I have 3,000 terabytes of RAM, but most of it is used on my job and research,
Yes.
and less of it is used on D&D.
Yeah.
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 And at least 1% of it is remembering monster attack patterns in Monster Hunter.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like
you see that right claw twitch, and I'm already like jumping into the air.
Yeah.
So I'm doing the left claw twitches too.
it's really, you know, when anything twitches, really.
And when they look at me, I jump in the air. It's kind of my tier 1 defense.
Yeah.
And it's why I don't fight Kieran.
Yeah.
Oh, Kieran's not that bad.
Oh man, you should see Brogan. He sucks at Kieran really bad.
So
anyway.
Okay. But the other thing that I want to say about his point is doing things that are not technically optimal. Because he has the whole, well, think about what your character would do in the moment. And I do that a lot, actually. In the sense of like what I described how Yulan was when he was in his final fight. Yulan fucking went in there. He just went in hard, and I was even like giving him a chance to not, because I was rolling it and stuff in order to make it so that he could potentially like come out of his I hate on death rage. But he didn't, and he just kind of ran in and he just did all this stuff. So, and again, if you feel like your character, like, don't do it to the point of like dickery, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
There's a line, right?
As soon as there is combat, don't immediately bail on the party.
No, yeah, exactly.
As soon as things turn south, you don't leave your party members to die.
Yes, there is some etiquette that you must follow in this kind of, because it is a cooperative experience still.
Yes. Not to mention,
and in certain players' cases, if their friend dies in game, they will hunt you down.
And then not to mention, if you go too hard on the whole, this is what my character would do, you're removing your own agency from the game. Because if you're like, fuck, I don't know. You're playing a rogue. It's like, well, my rogue, he's a rogue. Rogues steal things. This is what my character would do. No.
Well, okay,
yeah.
that's yeah. If you're looking at it that simplistically, sure.
Yeah, if you are looking at it that way, don't do that.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
Of course, yeah. You should have some complexity.
Yes, because even if your character is that kind of person, they're not going to be that way all the time, you know?
No, exactly. Unless you've made them a kleptomaniac, a compulsive person that actually steals, but then you can mitigate it slightly where they go like small things, right? Or you know, you can play it off fine. It's just one of those things of like
everything in moderation.
Exactly. There are situations in which things should not be done or should be done, I would say.
Yes, because your character does have an intelligence score.
Yes.
And if you have an intelligence score of 10, you have average intelligence. And your character would be like, I like to steal things, but I don't think I should steal
like living
from
more.
the king during his coronation.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like, again, it's one of those things where you got to remember that 10 is base, right?
Yes. You're a rogue, not a kender.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, I like the kender.
Fuck the kender, man.
Oh, I like Dragonlance. I grew up with those books.
Yeah, like, yeah, just as a general PSA, if you are a rogue, that does not mean that your measure of success is whether or not your hand is in someone's pocket.
Yeah.
Like,
your measure of success is whether or not your dagger is in the back of their head.
Yeah. Like,
or if you take the actor feat.
Having played with rogues that absolutely will steal from anyone that they can, having been the rogue that'll steal from anyone they can, and they'll steal from the party or sometimes steal loot that the rest of the party is trying to fight for. That's not your measure of success. Your measure of success is what you can do to aid the party.
Yes.
Sometimes that's stealing.
Yeah. Exactly.
If you're essentially if you're being the bank for your party, so long as your party's willing to not ask questions, totally fine. Steal away. But if they're like, man, I want some new armor, but like I'm 1,500 gold short, and you're like, shit, baby, like
I got you.
I got you. Buy yourself something nice.
Because that just reminds me of when we were playing Divinity, really.
Yeah.
Well,
that's right.
That's what I was referencing.
Yeah. Like when I was the fucking loot goblin every time, and I would share it in the end. It's just I was always the loot goblin.
Yeah, it's true.
Or when I'm like, hey guys, I need 3 of you to distract 3 NPCs, get them facing this way. Meanwhile, I rob all of them.
Absolutely, yes.
And I will
stole the
to
key.
Town.
Yes.
To the reward in the Coliseum.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. And then I won, and then you were like, well.
No, it wasn't that. You talked to the guy, and he's like, well, I'd give you the key for the reward, but someone stole it.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then just like,
at normal times wouldn't be just praise, John, but my key to the rest of your reward has been nicked from me pockets.
Exactly. Yeah, that was
so good.
Yeah.
All right, let's continue on.
Well, the other thing I want to mention as well in regards to roguiness, is actually something else. Is you don't have to be that kind of rogue. Remember? Whoa, that was strange. The microphone for a second.
I was taking a drink.
I hear you. Okay. But yes, you have to. We can reference one of the best rogues of all time was Bilbo Baggins. My dude.
Drizzt. Oh.
Wait, who? I missed
Bilbo. Bilbo.
Drizzt.
No. Bilbo, and then what did Aiden say?
Oh,
Drizzt.
Oh. I guess, yeah. But what I mean is the sense of like one of the most well known, I guess. He was a rogue. He was specifically a rogue.
Specifically hired.
Yes, burglar. Yes. But you know, you can be a kind, not steely man who nicks the things that he needs to.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah.
Yeah, you can absolutely play a rogue and go through a whole campaign with like stealing nothing.
Mhm.
You'll get some raised eyebrows, but you can do it.
Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely. Don't feel the pressure.
Oh, what does that remind me of? That reminds me of something. Oh, damn
What does it remind you of?
Just like you can be a bard and not fuck everything that moves.
It just it just made me think a little bit of Shadowrun, because most of what Shadowrun is heists.
Mm-hmm.
Or a lot of what Shadowrun is heists.
Yeah.
And like stealthy shit.
Yeah.
And in that game, you're basically all playing rogues. And it just made me think, man, it'd be kind of interesting to have a party where it's all rogues and the whole adventure is building up to a big fucking heist. And then I'm like, yeah, that's kind of Shadowrun, isn't it?
I was gonna say, that's every day in a Shadowrunner's life.
Yeah, right? Anyway.
Alright, let's keep going here.
Yeah.
Tip number 3, don't fear the dice. Bad dice rolls are bound to happen. We all love the moments of great success in Dungeons & Dragons where you have this clutch moment and you roll a natural 20, sealing the deal, saving the lives of your entire party or whatever. But equally, you're going to have some pretty bad nights. You're going to have nights where you're just rolling abysmally. And that's okay. Try to think about how the lows can make the highs all that much better.
Mm-hmm,
so remember, there are going to be some lows, but look forward to the highs too. In the meantime, try to think about how this low here can contribute to a good overall story. Maybe you think about your character in this moment.
Can't have story
What's
in
going
D&D.
on in their head as they keep rolling a 2, a 5, a 1, right? What's happening? Are they distracted? Are they preoccupied, stressed out? Or is there something going on in the environment that's unsettling to them? Try to think about those sorts of things and make it part of the story. And then maybe for the rest of the night, your character is kind of mopey and feels a little bit useless and like they're not as good as the other party members, or I don't know. The point is, try to weave it into the story, because the reality is failure makes for good stories. And to me, Dungeons & Dragons is all about getting together and telling good stories.
Yeah!
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
Oh, that's right. Sorry, we
D&D
learned.
sucks at telling story.
Yeah, but that's okay.
It is okay.
This guy clearly does not follow the RPG pundit.
Right.
Yeah, and
Our
I mean,
Lord.
I bet you anything. I bet he wasn't even considered for a consultation.
Yeah,
I know, right?
I don't see this guy's name in the credits of the books.
Yeah.
But no, he's absolutely correct.
Yeah.
He's absolutely correct. You should think about
100%.
You should think about how your fuck ups like make your character like feel or develop them.
Yeah.
I fucking argue this all the time. This fucking character development is great.
Yeah.
Just
I personally have trouble with this just because D&D is a team game, and I feel like if you have a party that's well-rounded, like you got a fighter, you got a mage, you got a rogue, you got a cleric, you got all the important shit covered, and then one person is just constantly failing, it feels like you're letting the team down.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
And so that can be rough. So I obviously, you roll what you roll, obviously.
Right.
And so you just got to take it. But I personally have
Unless
trouble
you have the
with
luck
that.
feat.
Yeah, unless you have the luck feat.
Ugh.
Unless you have luck, in which case you get to roll as much as you want.
What about my halfling divination sorcerer with the luck feat?
Yep. Okay, you saw that video too.
I just know the concept. When you said it, it hurts. I've never seen a video about this. Oh God.
There's a video.
I don't think I've seen a video of it either.
Oh, it's Z Bashu.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well,
no, I just on reading through the 5 ebooks.
Yeah.
Seeing like reroll dice. Where have I heard that before? And I'm like, oh. And then I saw it again, and I was like, oh, wait, can I combine these? And then I did a quick like forums check, and I was like, oh.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's fucking. It can get bad.
I'll find the video and then we can watch it after, just so you can see it.
Okay.
All right.
It's really quick.
Sure.
Yeah, most of the stuff is pretty quick.
Yeah.
The thing that I would say though is, you could have your character. Well, unfortunately, you can't. But what I would say that you should be able to do is, have your character like then focus on what they want to be better at, right?
Yeah.
Which is unfortunately something you can't do in 5e.
Yeah.
Because they have the catch-all skills and no progression of them whatsoever other than stat ups and proficiency up via leveling, which is just such a hindrance in thinking of like, my character wants to like, okay, let's go with the example of, you have a I'll go with our artificer because I like artificers. Artificer who is trying to become, like, he's the party's lookout, let's say. He's there because he can't really fight too well. He's gives them their buffs as needed, right, with some of his infusions, and he is the lookout for the group. In their initial, like, few times, they go in, they can't rely on him very well because every time he keeps fucking up. You know, he keeps getting low rolls, doesn't get very well into seeing the guards as they're trying to, like, I don't know, steal something, or seeing the thieves, or whatever the case may be of what he's looking out for. He's just been fucking it up. And then you could flavor that in older editions where he invests those skills into ranks, into his perception, so that he is practicing somehow to better himself at the thing that he wants to be useful to, right? Useful to the party for.
You said the word ranks, and I got so nostalgic.
I know. It, like, Pathfinder has them, and since I'm playing a Pathfinder campaign as well, it feels fucking good. But this is what I would say is what you can still flavor it as in the core 5th edition rule set of, like, my character is trying so hard to, I don't know, try to pinpoint things in the distance while they're traveling in order to kind of look at them and try to describe what they are, and I don't know, just something where you then see the character is taking this to heart and trying their very damnedest just to get better at what they want to do for the party. You're not going to see any fucking returns from that if you keep rolling like shit, but hey!
Yeah.
The character's trying! It's unfortunate, but
yeah,
the way it is.
And even on a more myopic scale, you can try to improve your character to, like, shore up their weaknesses. But you can also do things like represent frustration of a character who's tried like 4 times to pick this damn lock, and it's just not budging. And someone's like, "All right, come on, man, like let's get in there." And he's like, "I'm fucking trying, okay?" You can have like frustration or elation or a whole range of emotions that can sort of deepen that roleplay experience for everyone at the table. If you start thinking to yourself, if I like, it's not just you, like, quote unquote failing when you roll the dice.
No.
It's also your character whose life may or may not depend upon his success at that moment. And is probably getting real fucking stressed. And how will that play through?
Yeah, exactly. How do they deal with that? How does that manifest? There's a whole, but again, just like.
But no matter what you do, just know that there's no story in D&D.
Right? Yeah. Don't ever try to make a story because it's not a thing that can happen. Obviously.
Yeah. No. Like, you might get 1 or 2 stories at most from a campaign.
Potentially.
Potentially, yeah. And that's if, like, the campaign, like, in game, you spend years.
Right, exactly.
You may have
at least story. 100 years equals 1 story.
Yes.
Remember, your character might have died, in fact, so they don't actually get a story, but everyone else.
Yeah.
Yeah. People are born, live, and die without a single story.
I will never fucking understand that fucking point. All right, but again, yes,
That's
the dice, don't fear them. Absolutely, they're there to help, and like, yeah, every time, every day is gonna be a little different. Hopefully,
And
Yeah.
statistically speaking, as many times as you roll low, you will roll high.
exactly.
Except for the people who don't, in which case, I am sorry.
Yeah, that's usually me.
We actually, I think I've told this before. We've decided that the table is cursed that we play on for my intrigue game because they
Yeah.
consistently roll low all the time. It's fucking great.
The table I play on literally picks like a rotating person
Yeah.
to get absolutely screwed over,
Oh,
but
no.
that is only ever at 3 positions.
What? Huh?
Wow.
There's literally 3 seats. It's my seat, the barbarian seat, and the paladin seat. It will be
Okay.
one of us.
That's amazing.
Oh, okay then.
That's so good.
And if someone literally, I've had a person swap seats with them one time.
hmm
And that person who had been rolling fine all evening spent the rest of the evening rolling like shit.
Yeah.
Bro, you
So
gotta
then
change
you
that
guys need to
feng
play
shui.
some Cthulhu. You need to play some Cthulhu then.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's musical chairs, except the winner loses.
Yeah.
Nice.
Tip number 4: avoid metagaming. Metagaming
Yeah.
is using
Yes.
out-of-game knowledge in the game. So
need to
me
subscribe to
using
this
my
guy.
innate knowledge and
Yeah.
applying that to my character. And different groups have different tolerances for that, but most groups tend to frown on it. And I encourage you to think about, what does my character know?
Thank you.
I might
yes.
know that the fighter next to me, if I look at his character sheet, oh, he only has 2 hit points left.
Mhm.
But does my character know that?
Mhm.
I might know that a skeleton is vulnerable to bludgeoning damage and has an armor class of 13 and 13 hit points, but does my character know that? These are the sorts of things I encourage you to think about so that you can begin to inhabit your character a little bit. After all, that's what role-playing is. When you're truly starting to put yourself into the shoes of your character, the game becomes a lot more fun and great stories unfold.
Stories are impossible.
Right.
We know
Tip
that.
number 5.
So I was actually going to mention that earlier of like not metagaming hit points.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
completely forgot to mention it.
Well, there you go. Yeah, like the way that I like to do it is where I will say, okay, what is my character seeing on the field right now, right? Like
Mhm.
what do my party look like if I'm somebody who can heal or if I'm somebody who wants to try to help, It's just like, oh yeah, they're fucking bleeding. Oh, right? Like
Yeah. I just saw the bard get gored.
Yes, exactly. Pay attention as well. When you're at the table, pay attention to what's happening. Like
Mhm.
Yes.
if you don't pay attention, you're not gonna know what's going on. So if the bard gets gored and then you're sitting there and you're just like, I don't know, looking at your phone or whatever,
Ugh.
there's a fine balance that needs to be struck between like looking down at whatever resource you need to look at for potentially your character. I am giving you the benefit of the doubt that you are not just looking at memes. But if you're looking at your sheet, if you're looking at a book, if you're looking at something, you have to at least have like one ear, paying attention to what's going on so that you know at least what's going on around you,
Yeah, that's what I do for the podcast.
Hey!
Yeah.
Yay!
Yep.
I at
Anyway.
least get one ear. That's cool.
One ear and no eyes.
Yeah!
I mean, hey man, how am I supposed to talk about D&D and think about D&D and not pick locks?
That's
true.
You know what? That's fine. You're fine. Don't worry about it. As long as you're still here and responding, that's all I can really ask of you, isn't it?
What?
Ah.
It's a funny joke. Funny joke.
5, and the last one of the day is build a smart
Yes.
character.
Mhm.
Now, this doesn't mean building a character with a high intelligence score.
Thank you.
What I'm talking about here is building
Fucking
a character
competence.
that fits well in the game. This could mean that it fits well into the world that the game master has designed.
go.
This could mean that it fits well with the other characters or the other players. You might have, for example, this great concept for a character who's this kind of lone wolf elf who dislikes all other races. But is that character going to be a fun one for the group? You do have to consider that you are playing a game here, and there are other people than you. And it's about everyone coming together to have fun. Sometimes that involves a little compromise and not playing the character that you had specifically wanted to play, because honestly, that character might be kind of annoying. Don't build a character that's going to be some kind of kleptomaniac and always be going off and doing his own thing and wanting to steal from people. The group is trying to go toward a quest. I think you get the idea here. So there's a little give and take there, and I think you got to know your group. I highly recommend doing some sort of session 0 where you get together with your game group and you build your characters together and you talk about the tone of the game and all this, and you try to maybe make some connections between your characters. This does not mean that you need to build characters that are all going to get along really well with each other in the game. Sometimes a little bit of conflict and tension can be really interesting.
Nice little bit of spice.
But these are definitely things to talk about with your game group, and just be considerate of the rest of the gaming group when you build your character.
Have a session 0 once more for the people in the back.
Yes. Session 0s are really important. Absolutely.
Session 0, build your characters together.
Yes.
At the same time.
Even if it's not technically a session, right? Just build characters together.
Yes.
Just hang out together and go, I'm thinking about playing this kind of character. I'm thinking about playing this kind of character. Oh, you want to maybe like have something where, right? Like you have that ability, and you can make it so that in the long run, your DM is going to go, oh, thank God I don't have to just throw you guys in a tavern. Right.
Yeah. Not to mention, that was one of the things that made our Tabaxi campaign instantly so interesting, where we were all making our characters together, and all of a sudden, elephant.
Yeah, it's true. It's so true.
Yeah, we decided that we wanted to be a wandering group of Tabaxi brothers, and the DM's like, okay, start of the campaign. You're all walking along with your elephant.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it can make magic. It can just make that magic without even having played yet. It's fantastic.
Legit, one of my favorite things to do is to come up with wacky and zany reasons why my character knows another character at the table. Because, like, I mean, at least personally speaking, I really struggle with, as someone who, like, if I'm thrown in with a group of people, literally the first thing I will do is I will find the first excuse I can, like the first valid reason I can, to immediately start doing my own thing. And because of that, I have a limitation in D&D. I'm not as good at you're all in a tavern or you're all in a jail cell. I don't really care immediately about the other people that are in the jail cell. And it's I personally struggle with finding a natural reason to blend in with the party, aside from the term I use, and it's a term that some of my players have done, and I try to get them to not do that, is they imprint on the party.
Okay.
So much like when a baby animal is first born, the first thing that it sees, it will think it's its mother. When a baby character, a baby little level 1 character is made, the first PCs that they find they're like, you're my new best friend, and they have no reason for it.
That's very true.
So that's what I call it. I don't know if it has a term.
I think it's pretty close.
Imprinting is a good term, honestly, I would say. I know I had an issue with that as well. Like, when I did one of my campaigns where we didn't have a session 0, I was just like, figure out who you want to play, like an idiot. And then I was like, oh. And then when they got together, they were just together, and I was like, I didn't really give you guys much of a. Oh, that sucks.
It's not organic.
No, it sucks, honestly. It doesn't. It also means that, like, when you have them have problems in the future, it makes it much harder for them to, like, get back together in a way, you know? It's something that I really should just employ a session 0 every time.
It's also one of those things that, fortunately, it does go away as the campaign goes longer. like once you do have the time to form those bonds, the party will naturally like glue itself back together. When you as the DM are like, I'm gonna separate the party. And you have characters that don't magically know, I'm going to go to the tavern where it just so happens the rest of the party, everyone except me, is there. I want to go to this specific tavern.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
It's a pet peeve of mine. And a reason why our druid once got arrested was because he left a brothel after breaking up with his girlfriend who worked there.
Right.
Of course.
Got splashed with wine because they were ending with an amicable breakup.
Right.
And him being the druid, as she's leaving, just goes, "Oh, by the way, your blowjob sucked."
Cool.
So then she takes the wine that was on the platter because she was working as a waitress and just splashes him with it.
Right.
And I would, at the time he's like, all right, I'm going to join up with the party here. And I'm like, you don't know where they are.
Yeah.
And because of that, he then decided to go screaming through the city, yelling the name of the barbarian, like wildly in the streets.
Yep. Yeah.
And that's how he got arrested for a drunken disorderly.
Yeah. It's we've actually, as I've been playing, we've had lots of times where my character actually a lot of the time either goes off on their own and goes off on their own, gets separated from the party and then doesn't know where the party is. Like Yulon had that happen to him once, because everybody went into a cafe-ish kind of place, and got drugged. And no one told him, and he thought they were all going to go meet with their contact at another place. And when he got there, he turned around and no one was there. And he was like, "Oh, where do I guess I'll just wait here."
A world before cell phones.
Yeah,
which is something
but not a world before sending.
That's there are ways to mitigate it. Absolutely.
Yep. Stones of sending.
Yes,
literally
sending stones.
My party has them, and they call them the Rocky Talkies.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. I think every DM puts one of the something in there every time, just so that they have we can just contact them excuse.
It just immediately ends so many problems that would waste
a
half an hour.
Absolutely. But yeah,
and
if
you're clever with using them too, you can do things like set up distractions and such.
Oh, totally. But yeah, I think and the other time where one of my characters walked off, she was followed by people, so they knew where she was. But unfortunately, that's when I retired her because of reasons that they made so much sense for her to literally have to go. Yep. But then I brought back my other character, so we're all good. But yeah, it's good. It's a good thing to that and have your characters together and all that.
Yeah.
See what his final things are, and then we can see if we can think about any other things that we should tell new players.
He actually, if in the pause thing here, it says 5 more tips for players.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so after this, we can watch that one.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah.
That's going to do it for this one, everybody, but I do have more player tips coming soon. I've got them written down and ready to go, and I also have some Dungeon Master tips that will be coming out sometime in the near future. So make sure you're subscribed and stay tuned for
why not just make one video that's 10 tips?
Well, he might have just thought of 5, and then...
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
But editing, though.
Not to mention money.
Sure.
Money.
Well, yeah, there's also if you split it into 2, that's 2 videos and not 1.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Right.
But much like Corey, he fears starvation.
Yeah, exactly.
Except he also fears retardation, so...
It's true. He does.
And on a side note, apparently that Z Vashu video has been put on private for some reason.
Oh,
I
that
don't know why.
sucks.
Yeah.
Must have been some kind of copyright.
Yeah, I'm guessing it was the music.
Yeah.
Because of course it was the fucking music.
Alejo, by the way, what is the name of this channel?
WASD 20.
Thank you, WASD20.
Yes, thank you. I've already subscribed to you with our channel here, so
as soon as I'm out of the Discord call and opening another Chrome tab won't kill my internet, I will also subscribe. Your video has been a shining beacon of hope in
in a
past
dark world
of of despair that I've been given.
Yeah. All right, so let's go to the
see.
next one.
Yeah. Okay, so the second one.
I have it here in the bar if you want me to just click it.
Yeah, if you can just put it in the watch together, that'd be great. Actually.
Oh, whoops, that's gonna link me to YouTube. Okay, yeah, here I'll. Oh, there we go. Copy.
This is 5
Paste.
more D&D player tips, upping the challenge rating, I assume.
Yes.
Cool.
Hey everybody, welcome to WASD20. My name is Nate, and today I'm going to be sharing with you 5 ways that D&D players can up their game and better contribute to a great shared experience at the gaming table. So a few weeks ago, I posted a video called 5 Tips for New Dungeons & Dragons Players, and I will put a link to that one right up there. I definitely recommend you check it out.
Me too!
Now, here in this video, I'm giving 5 tips that are upping the challenge rating a little bit, and I'm hoping that for newcomers and veterans alike, these 5 tips will stretch you maybe out of your comfort zone a little bit, and overall just contribute to more fun at the gaming table. So let's hear them.
Let's see.
Tip number 1 is this: share the spotlight.
Yes.
Get
Hell yes.
other players at your table
Preach.
involved and engage them. You can do this in a couple practical ways. One is by asking them things in character. You know, ask them about themselves. Draw them out a little bit. Try to get to know them as a character by asking them about their past in ways that make sense in the context of the game. Try to have real conversations that traveling and adventuring companions might have. Another way that you can share the spotlight is by getting players involved when you think there might be expertise in a certain area. So if my character's not very good at something, but I know that their character is, don't just say, you know, if there's a lock to pick, rogue, do your thing. But rather, you know, in character a little bit, try to defer to expertise and think a little bit deeper than rogue lock picking. Think about, hey, in your background, I think you've dealt with similar things. How did you deal with that? And even if you don't know if they have an expertise in something, ask for their opinion, especially that quiet player. Say, what do you think? And draw them out and get them more involved. Especially if you find yourself as the most talkative member of the group, find time to intentionally stay quiet and let others speak up and try to get them more involved.
2 thoughts on that.
Okay.
The first, especially when deferring to other players' expertise, that is one of the few examples of when, like, I get a bit okay with metagaming-ish. Because if someone has, like, say, like, broken a bone, and the bone is, like, peeking out through the skin,
Sure.
if the rogue is, like, passing it off to the cleric because they're like, you're the healer, deal with that, like, fix this. I'm totally okay with it, because that's literally party roles doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Not only that, in combat, the cleric obviously would be like, if they're casting healing spells, they'll be chanting, they'll be like glowing with, you know, soft white light, you know, they'll be coming over, laying on hands, and
depending
shit like
upon
that.
who the patron is.
Exactly.
Yeah, but you get it.
Yeah. And so the characters in the world will know, hey, healer, heal, please. You know that.
I agree.
Do the thing we pay you for.
But I would also say that, I mean, if you don't know in that instance, you don't have to specifically ask one character, like even thinking about it in a metagaming perspective. You can just say out loud to the party, can someone do something about this, right? And then you learn something, even if it's not the cleric, if it's, hey, I don't know, the ranger. Yeah,
the ranger with a healing kit.
Exactly, the ranger with a healing kit, or with or a bard. Like anyone can try it.
Sing to me and make me feel better.
Exactly. Like, use your soothing music, you know?
Yes.
But, you know, it's one of those things. And I will say as well, like, I've been trying to do that more with my characters as well. It's just like, hey, how are you doing today, other character? Right? As a player to player, trying to promote more talking between each other, because like, you know, it's one of those things that should be a thing that's happening when you're spending days upon days with people, right?
Yeah.
it's kind of natural that you would get bored and go, hey dude, how you doing? Right?
Yeah, right.
You're gonna form a relationship.
Yeah.
And like imagine if you were going to work every day and then you didn't say a word to anybody that you work with.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
One of those things. It's something that should be kind of more natural, and I feel like I understand if you are a player who you're not really confident in your role playing. That's fine, you know, but still, like, you can still just like talk, you know.
Yeah. You know, it's a good way to fix that too.
Talking.
Experience.
Yeah.
Yes.
Definitely, again, get out of your comfort zone, as he said. Try to talk, and even if you don't have like a voice or whatever, just like say words, you know.
Yeah.
You can just be your character's voice. That's fine. There's
there's
no need for a silly voice.
If you're the quiet person, when you talk just a little bit, as long as your other if your other players who talk more are willing to engage with you, they'll engage with you, and that'll give you the opportunity to talk more naturally. If you're afraid or nervous to start your own conversations, you can rely on others to do it for you. And then once they do it enough times, you'll become comfortable enough to start your own conversations.
Totally.
Yeah. If you find yourself being edged out of conversations by your group too, typically this will happen if a person is less confident and like the rest of the players at the table are also like very confident in role play as well as just like in general. There are two things that you can do to approach this. The first is you can have a character that literally speaks to themselves or like their hummingbird familiar or something. And that'll allow you to get a bit more natural like speaking as your character. Because it doesn't matter if you're overlapping your voice with other people because you're not talking to them. Another thing you can do is bring up to your DM or even the table, say, hey, I want to be able to be a bit more involved with my character. Would you guys mind if I start to take a bit more of a prominent or like equal position to you guys instead of being a background character? Because most of the time, if you're getting edged out of a conversation, it's not coming from a place of malice where people are intentionally trying to like shut you up. Sometimes it is, and in which case, find new players. But most times it isn't, and it's literally just because people get so used to having to compensate for the fact that someone is silent, and the fact that they have to now talk more to like fill up space. If you at least mention to them that you have an interest in taking less of a spectator position and being more of an active participant, most people will definitely like do their best to try to keep that in mind and will oftentimes give you the floor, so to speak.
Yeah, absolutely. It all comes down to communication. Like having a good like ability to communicate with your group, with your DM, everything, just it solves so many issues that anyone could have. Like being able to be at the end of the day go, we're all friends or we're all people, we can talk about stuff, you know, without getting like super upset about anything or anything like that. Like it's really important just to have that kind of atmosphere.
Silently thinking to yourself about how your character spends all his or her time silently thinking to themselves is not going to help anything.
No. Yeah. And this actually,
unless you're the edgelord, in which case you're playing perfectly in character.
I was actually going to bring this up because I didn't bring it up before when he was talking about that. The lone wolf type character. I do want to give some notice to that again, in the sense of, if you're going to play that type of character, you can. There is a way to do that. I would say there's one option, is have that character be a lone wolf with another character, right, of your party. Have there be a dynamic there, so that you're not just doing something on your own and you have to talk to someone else. Whether it be you were blood brothers in a war, whether you be actual brothers or sisters or whatever, whether it be in a war, whether you were in a war, but just have a kind of relationship with at least one character.
In a war.
You guys have a shared past, but not a story.
Yes.
Yeah, no stories.
No stories ever. But
that's okay.
But that's okay. No, but legitimately, it is fine. And if you are the lone wolf character who doesn't speak much, who doesn't give too much of an opinion, who just kind of shrugs and goes along with things, try to not do that, please. Try to have your character engage with other characters. Even if you don't think it's something that they would do, they probably do actually crave some sort of connection with people, because people are social.
But no, you don't understand. My mother burned me as a child. Since then, I've been unable to form any sort of emotional bond.
That's never interesting. I'm sorry, but it's never interesting if you are that kind of character who just doesn't do anything.
Wow, that's
socially.
Offensive. It's a mental disorder, you asshole.
Okay, see, if there's a reason,
twice weekly therapy sessions. How dare you?
If you have a reason for it that's interesting, then I'm sorry, but you haven't conveyed that to me at all.
Yeah, right?
Right? How the fuck am I supposed to know that you lost your parents in a great fire from that red dragon who attacked the keep over there?
Because it was really painful.
Oh, I was supposed to just know that without you saying anything?
If you guys had read through my 12-page character backstory, you'd know this.
Exactly. I shouldn't have to read through your backstory to find you interesting. I should just be able to look at your character, see what they do, and go, oh, that's neat. Right?
Loner characters are very easy to play, but they're very hard to play well.
Yes.
And there are of course limitless variants on how to do it. I've always made my edgy Shadow Blade characters absolute fucking loudmouths that could not stop talking about how edgy they were. And they're like, my blade is dipped in shadow. And just seeing everyone else just put their head in your hands just gives you strength. I literally, when playing Divinity Original Sin, the name of my character was Kage Umbranox, which in Japanese, Greek, and Latin respectively means shadow, shadow, shadow.
Yes. So fucking dumb. I loved it.
And it resulted in people calling him Cage, much to his chagrin. And it resulted in shenanigans.
Yeah. Again, it can be interesting. It's very easy to make something interesting, as long as you actually have the aptitude to just talk. Even if it's not much, even if they're a man of few words, make them interesting words.
Yes.
Right?
And then going into the kind of loner character, it reminded me, if any of you guys out there who are watching are big fans of anime.
The Komi-san?
Huh?
The Komi one?
No, I was gonna say Naofumi.
Oh, okay.
Because he starts out as a loner. He starts out as the super angry, edgy dude. And then he makes friends. And then he stays kind of the loner character, but he only really cares about and protects his friends.
Yeah, there you go.
So you can have that edgy loner character. You just need to not be a loner with your party.
Yeah. I'm gonna say,
That's
when you bring somebody who cannot coexist with a group, you should not have brought that person to the game, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's unfortunate.
It's just not going to work.
By person, I mean character, not person, because that would be really. I feel like even if that person can't really do groups well, they can try, and it can be fun still.
Yeah,
maybe not.
Again,
hopefully,
if you know your limits and you know that it won't be fun, right? Like, don't worry about it. You know.
I'm posting this to the Discord, but there's one of my favorite ever takes on the loner, edgy drow character that doesn't speak anything to anyone. And it's this whole green text, and it's based off of Komi, which is a manga about a girl who's like actually as sweet as can be, but like suffers from horrible shyness and insecurity. And the green text goes, player character, drow rogue, sat in dark corner of tavern, glowering at everyone playing with a dagger. I don't know how to pronounce that word.
It's glowering. You got it.
Yeah. Glowering. Okay. Actually is really friendly. The dark corner is easier on their light-sensitive eyes, squinting because of the fireplace. Really wants to talk to people and make friends, but is very shy. Dagger is a good luck present from her mum and reminds her of home.
Yeah.
Again, interesting.
Yeah, very interesting.
And it's one of those things where as soon as you introduce that, literally everyone at your table is going to facepalm and be like, okay. And then as soon
as they start talking to them.
Yeah. And like you only squeeze out a few words of a sentence and they're like, that's not what I was expecting. Okay. And then like as session 1 goes on, and maybe in session 2 or 3, when you actually start talking to the party more, they like slowly have those first impressions fade away.
Yeah. Character development. It's fucking nice and cool.
Not even necessarily character development, because it's how you've always been, but
True.
it's just showing.
I guess more like it's in for the party themselves, like actual relationship development, I guess. Social link up.
Yeah. What would that person even be? Fuck, I don't know. The moon?
Yeah,
I think it might actually be something like the moon. Anyway, I don't.
It's been a while since I played Persona, to be fair.
Yeah.
Like so much of the best character development. Oh, go on.
No, go on.
Oh, I was gonna say so much of the best character development in Dungeons and Dragons and tabletop games in general is when unexpected conversations just kind of naturally happen that wind up taking like forever, and even if they like pause the rest of the game, but those characters spend a half an hour talking between the two.
That's magic.
Yes.
Literally last Sunday, I prepared a fight where the party was attending a ball, sort of a Halloween ball, that was being thrown by some cannibals who were using the cover of taking drunk nobles that were at the party and like kind of escorting them downstairs to kind of dry up a little bit. But actually, that room downstairs had 2 secret entrances in it. One that the noble cannibals would take that led directly into like a foyer where like they could rest and like chat and drink wine while the meal was being prepared, and the other secret entrance of which led to a kill room where as soon as you walked in, you were someone would cast hold person on you and another person clubbed you over the head, and then your unconscious body would be taken to the kitchens to be butchered, prepared, and then eventually made into food. The party walked into the kill room, fought the 2 dudes there, made their way to the kitchen, and started talking with the cooks, who I made very clear like the cooks were no match for them and were like fucking piss scared at the fact that 3 adventurers, one of which actually had a sword, because upon entering the party, everyone had their weapons and armor taken away from them.
So basically, it's exactly like Fallout New Vegas.
Yeah, or like that one mission in Skyrim.
Oh yeah, that one too. I forgot about that. Anyway,
but the Hexblade,
Does
because he has
Yeah.
Blade Pact, could just teleport his weapon to him.
Mhm.
And they're like, oh shit, he has a sword. Like, the best thing I have is this carving knife.
a ladle. Oh.
Yeah,
Oh.
or this like cast iron pan.
Yep.
That one of them was like defensively trying to use as a shield and like just sort of like scared in the corner. And the paladin, who is true neutral, um, revealed on her hand a tattoo of the god that she worshipped, which is a Daedra. And they've put two and two together that these people were Namira worshippers,
Mhm.
who was another Daedra. And the paladin talked them down, started to defuse the situation, walked over into the room next door, started talking to the nobles who were like scared as shit about what was going on and like on the verge of attacking the paladin. And the no charisma paladin talked the whole situation down and was like, I don't care that you guys are cannibals. I worship a Daedra too. Um, which kind of put my whole boss fight to waste. But the barbarian was totally gung ho about killing these cannibals because he's like, this is disgusting.
Sure.
Um, and while the paladin was in the other room talking to the nobles, um, the barbarian was in the room talking to one of the chefs and was like sort of 50-50 on whether or not he was just going to kill everyone anyway.
Mhm.
And apparently I did a really good job justifying cannibalism.
Hey.
And the
Nice.
barbarian was like, I don't like what you do. I find it disgusting, but I can't find any reason to kill you.
You've
And
broken
I'm
the
like,
law, you've broken morality, and yet I
yeah,
cannot slay you,
you've
sir.
you've killed dozens of people, but then again, so have I.
Yeah,
And
fair.
you clearly don't care about the fact that these people had families, but then again, those people probably wouldn't care about you,
Yeah.
and I didn't care that the
Yeah.
people I killed had families. So I guess I can't kill you.
It's the perfect instance of we're not so different, you and I.
I literally used that line.
Yes! Yes!
Nice.
It's so cliche. I love it.
But like, even while the party was like leaving the area with the cannibals, it resulted in the barbarian lecturing our paladin for 20 minutes
Wow.
about how he was so surprised that she thought that that was okay, and how could she claim to be a good person, and like donate money to the poor and stuff like that. And he's like, I thought I knew you. How could you be okay with this? How could you be so nonchalant?
Mhm.
Um, and it was like a 20-25 minute discussion, and I just like sat back in my chair and I
Yeah.
was like, good.
Yeah.
He's like, I thought you were a good person. And she's like, I never claimed to be a good person.
Mhm, mhm.
So long they're not making undead in there, I don't care.
Yeah, fair enough.
They can do what they want. They can worship their god. I worship mine. Um,
Fair enough.
I never claimed to be a good person. And he's like, maybe I should do some thinking about who I'm traveling with. And she's like, maybe you should.
Yeah, I mean, whenever you have characters talking to each other, it's fucking magic.
Mhm.
Like that's the entirety of my intrigue campaign.
Yeah.
It's like they just talk. It's great to just listen to a lot of the time. Of just like, how does this drow and how does this this tiefling and their whole like trying to gather allies and also like kind of subtly start making things more like what they want and not what, you know, the for the greater good for them, right? It's interesting to just listen to them scheme together and all this kind of
Dude,
stuff, and it's just great.
love listening to players scheme.
Scheming is great.
My
Let your
favorite
players
thing.
scheme. Oh man. So
Oh
good.
man.
So fucking good.
Especially too because if you don't have the dungeon 100% finished, and I recommend not 100%ing, like, finishing the dungeon
Mhm.
until they first enter, or until right before they enter the dungeon, rather.
Sure. Yeah.
But, like, when they're scheming and they're like, "Oh, we can use this, and we can use this, and we can use this," and you're
Mhm.
just getting trap ideas, and you're like, "Good."
See, I don't even employ dungeons usually because I don't know. Dungeons are just kind of they're too boring to me. Mostly because it is just a kind of combat-ish kind of thing, right? It makes me think of it more as we need to use like miniatures and we need to map this out and we need to have traps and monsters, and it rarely becomes a uh a chance for diplomacy unless you really tailor it that way. Which you can, absolutely. I'm not saying you can't. I'm just saying I just don't see the need to construct something like so complex, I guess. I don't know.
I'm very loose with my definition of dungeon.
Sure.
Like, for instance, I had that whole ball thing. I had the whole house mapped out.
Sure.
And even as swarming with other guests as that was,
Mhm.
I consider that a dungeon.
Okay, I see.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Then
Um,
I guess I also do that, but for just social encounters, you know?
yeah. I mean, like, I don't consider, like, a tavern a dungeon usually, but
Right.
anything that has a fairly high percentage of there being combat in it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But I never really um design a dungeon where there isn't at least one roleplay opportunity.
Sure.
Like, even in the one where they were storming a lab that was actively being used by the big bad of the campaign,
Mhm.
they broke into an alchemist's lab where there were three people working in there,
Mhm.
who were essentially being forced labor, so to speak,
Okay.
because they owed the big bad a debt.
Uh,
Um, and by talking things out slowly
Mhm.
with the four people in the lab, one of those people tried to then attack the party and then got spit roasted by a giant arrow the size of a spear.
Fair enough.
And then that kind of calmed the other three down.
Okay. Yeah. I mean,
Uh,
as it should.
yeah, because they're like, I don't want that to happen to me, and they
Yeah.
were a bit more prone to, like, agreeing with the party.
Well,
Um,
I feel like that's a situation that could be in any. I feel like that's a situation that should be used in more instances of like morale, right? You have to
oh yeah,
like
morale's a huge
people
thing.
need to think about morale when they're DMing, because like legitimately, unless it's an animal even if it's an animal fighting
Yeah.
for its life and there's a way to escape and keep your life, that should be like, they're not all going to be crazy, you know, fanatical cultists like some, you know, groups have of like a bunch of things that just want to attack you until they die, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, animal attacks you out of a sense of self-preservation
Mm-hmm.
because they want to be able to eat.
Mm-hmm.
And if they are clearly in a situation where they know, oh, I misjudged this, they are
Yes.
going to run away.
Yes, absolutely.
A lot of situations, say like you have three bears attacking the party. Once
Yeah.
that second bear goes down, that third bear who's on like three-quarters of his HP is gonna kind of like
Well,
rethink the situation.
maybe even if the first bear goes down and it's the alpha, you
Yeah,
know, you
I
never know.
usually yeah, I usually roll for things like that.
Oh, absolutely.
Um,
Yeah, same.
mm,
It's just one of those things that you have to. I even roll for the people that are still alive sometimes, because it's just like, do they now, out of a sense of obligation to the rest of the people that they were with, do they want to fight still and like try to,
mhm,
you know, take somebody down with them, or like what is going on?
mhm.
You have to have some reasoning, because just going, well, we're just gonna keep fighting because this is the fight, is a little boring, and unrealistic,
Unless
unfortunately.
unless their constructs are undead. Unless they are literally
Oh, sure.
mindless.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That's a whole different thing, obviously.
Yeah.
If they have no intelligence, then they do what they do.
Yeah. Going back to the idea of dungeons being lots of different things.
Sure.
I wrote a PDF about a year ago, actually, of Google Docs is to be believed.
And was that Dumbgeneering?
Yeah, Dumbgeneering.
Yes. I'll link that.
And in it, I have a sentence saying, dungeons themselves are varied by nature in just about every other regard. Spooky, scary torture chambers and empty jail cells are usually the most common, but a wizard's tower, a necropolis, a goblin cave, a haunted mansion, an abandoned laboratory, the space underneath an ancient tree, a lich's lair, a pirate ship, or even the inside of a huge monster are also perfectly acceptable to describe as a dungeon.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair enough.
That'd be sweet to run a dungeon that's inside the Tarrasque. Fuck.
Oh, dude, that'd be cool.
Do you think I've not made that, dude? I've played Gears of War.
Yeah.
I've cut my way out of an Alaskan bullworm.
There you go. The other thing that I want to say before we continue on here is the original point was spotlighting other players and sharing the spotlight. As a dungeon master, do try to also give the spotlight to other players, right? Definitely try to involve the quiet one. Definitely try to involve everyone who you think, like, even if it's as simple as, well, this is happening, what is your character thinking about this situation? Like, what are they doing right now as they're talking about it, right? And like, it's also another delicate balance of try not to disturb the scene that's going on, if there's one going on, right? Where the two characters are talking to each other and trying to discuss something. Try to find like a good place to interject so that you can then pass the spotlight over, because you don't want them you do want them to have that spotlight, but you also want to, if it's a situation that allows it, to have everyone kind of participate.
Yeah, and you don't want to rip away the spotlight from someone who's currently in it immediately.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you don't want to just be like, okay, your turn's over. Now what do you do?
It's a whole balance. And that comes with experience, but
yeah.
2. Contribute to the fun of the entire group. Being a good player means being considerate of others. It means realizing that this game that you're coming together to play is not all about you and you having fun. It's about everyone coming together and having fun, and sometimes that involves a little bit of give and take. If there are people at your game who don't seem to be enjoying something your character is doing, consider stopping, but again, these are things you need to talk out. Open and clear communication is best, and sometimes compromise is needed. Realize that it isn't your responsibility to make sure that everyone has fun as a player, but at the same time, it isn't just the GM's responsibility. And as a player, take some responsibility for the fun of everyone at the table. Tip number 3.
I agree.
I feel like I feel like that whole point can pretty much be put up underneath share the spotlight, though.
Yeah.
It is itself kind of redundant, I would say, but I think it's good. But still,
it's a good point, but it's somewhat redundant.
I would also dare say that it speaks for itself.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
3 is one that I have found really helpful as someone who doesn't improvise very well, or at least it didn't at first come very naturally to me as a player, and that is consider a little bit of extra player prep. Normally we think of the dungeon master doing almost all the prep, and the players maybe just digging out the character sheet, maybe leveling up, and that's pretty much the extent of the prep. But here are some things to consider as a player for how you might prepare to be a great active player at the table. Make a list of things your character might say. Perhaps these are little quips or sayings that make sense with your character's religious or cultural background. Like in Narnia, for example, which I was reading to my kid the other day, characters will say, "By the lion," or in the Shade Vale in Aranoth, characters will say, "By the blood of the old one." So things like that can kind of spice things up and can make people feel a little more immersed, and they can just be a lot of fun. think of some ways that your character might be able to interact with the other characters in the group. Maybe you could think of a goal that your character has for the session. Maybe you could think of some awesome new battle maneuvers to try and just some new ways of describing things to spice it up. Now, this tip, again, might rub some people the wrong way, especially people who are really good at improv. And I've seen people who can just narrate the most amazing things, and it just blows my mind. It's just like, man, how do they come up with this stuff? And that's just not me. So for me, I'll just occasionally take down a couple notes. It's something I've done less and less, but it's something that certainly helped me when I was fairly new to the hobby and had a lot of trouble improvising cool stuff on the spot. I was inspired for this tip by a video from my friend Juice from Tabletop Gaming with Juice, did quite a while back. I think it was almost 2 years ago now, and I'll put a link to that video in the description below. You can check that out.
Cool. Well, that's another channel to add to the list, I guess.
Yeah.
Cool.
And I feel like point 3 is, that's more, I wouldn't say that's a tip for advanced players. I'd say that's a better tip for new players, because that's, to me, that's kind of just, basic immersion and role playing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Go on.
Oh, go on. No.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say, yeah, I feel like it's a very good, like, start, absolutely, to write down a bunch of stuff. You also then need to think about how to incorporate it organically.
Yes.
That's a big issue, because a
list of quotes is not a checklist.
Exactly. I can read things and it will sound like I'm reading it from a script.
Yep.
Like
I do the same.
I that's why I try not to write things down and read them out, right? Because otherwise I will sound like I am reading from a script. There is no way otherwise.
Now that you say that, that did just give me an idea for a character, for a bard who's a shitty actor.
Oh.
Ooh.
And every time they do something cool, they actually whip out a script and say it.
Oh, yeah. I love it.
So that could actually be really funny.
He pulls out like a sheet and like equivalent and like scans down and he's like, looks like you're all washed up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
he's just got a bunch of
that's no good. And then he strikes a line through it and starts scribbling.
Yes.
Yeah. So you can have a bard do that. And
that's super good.
Really entertaining.
Yeah.
His whole reason for adventuring is because he's trying to write a play. And
totally.
He's a terrible writer.
Yes. I love it. That's a great, like, stuff like that is great.
Yeah.
But yeah, improv is something that is definitely an experience thing.
Yes.
It's a lot more difficult. I know it's a lot more difficult from when you're starting to where you are after you've played a lot. I know
it's also kind of a comfort zone thing, because
exactly.
If you're not comfortable doing that, it's like, I don't really want to like say something that like people would laugh at me for saying it, or feel like I'm trying to steal a spotlight or trying to make it all about me, et cetera, et cetera. So once you get more comfortable, you'll be able to do it a bit more easily.
Absolutely.
But, it really is more an experience thing.
Yeah, in terms of like player prep and like preparing quotes, I've only ever done that for one character. It didn't really go so well for me because, again, whenever I try to take prepared lines, I then come up with like 20 different situations that I can use different lines in,
and then none of the situations happen.
Yeah, and so then what I'll instead do is, because I don't want that prep to be a waste, I'll try to like shoehorn a quote into the most applicable situation I can find.
Yeah.
And it's one of the reasons I personally don't do this. What I would recommend you do prepare quotes for is, if your character, say you're actually an evil character, but you're trying to come off as good, I would recommend having perhaps like a few quotes that maybe have to do with your backstory tangentially. Of like, after you kill someone, be like, I need to get out of here. I can't see this again, or something like that. That like a curious player may be like, what's up with that?
Why you say that?
Yeah, what's up with you? we've been traveling together for 3 months, and I've never seen you do that before. What's going on?"
Yeah, why you like this? And then you get
Yeah.
involved, and you get to share backstory, and yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. And maybe not necessarily a whole backstory dump, but like
No, of course.
just a taste, just
Yeah.
just a nibble.
Absolutely.
And what was the other thing? Oh, player prep. Just in general, not necessarily for lines. My players are actually like pretty good about player prep. I do sometimes have to remind them to do so. I'll occasionally just ask some of my players while I'm working with them or chatting.
Mhm.
I'll say, um, "Hey, dude, I'm in the process of doing some prep, and I know we have some downtime. Send me a list of things that your character would like to get done next session,
Mm.
Oh,
whether it
sure.
be shopping here, doing this, and stuff like that. And that way I can get merchant NPCs out of the way. I can get prices and stuff like that.
Mm.
Mhm.
So my recommendation to a lot of players would be thinking about what your character wants to accomplish 1 or 2 sessions out in order to give your DM ample time to prepare. And please do not think of something cool and then keep it a secret from the DM. Like one of my players was came up with a really good idea for getting a lot of money really quickly,
Mhm.
and it'll absolutely work. And when he mentioned to me last Friday, he's like, "Yeah, I've got a pretty good idea to come into a lot of gold." And I'm like, "Okay, what is it?" And he's like, "I can't tell you. It'll spoil the surprise." And I'm like, "Dude, I'm the DM. I need to prep for this. Tell me."
Mm.
And
Mm, okay.
he's like, "Oh, I was thinking of bartering with the local dragger, essentially crab people.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But dreg wax is very expensive,
Mm-hmm.
and they're actually in their molting season where they're going from land dwelling to sea dwelling,
Mm-hmm.
which means that they're molting off a lot of their carapace, which has that precious dreg wax on it. And
Mm-hmm.
he was saying that since I can speak with animals, I can speak with dreg.
Mhm.
Um, and I can also disguise myself to look a bit more like familiar to them, and I'm going to buy a bunch of fish from the market. I'm going to take it to the dreg and say, "Hey, if you let me pick up you guys' shell droppings, basically, and go in your cave, even if it's with like a chaperone of a dreg or two, um, this bag of holding that I've filled with fish is yours."
Mhm.
And that'll absolutely work with them. And now I know I need to map out the dreg layer. I
Mm.
need to come up with how a dreg queen would react with this, and like make tables for loot and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Sure. I again, that's perfectly valid. I like to fly by the seat of my pants a little bit more. Um, so I personally, if a player's like, I have a cool idea, I'm like, what is it? They're like, I think I'll try to implement it next time. I'm not gonna tell you yet. I'm like, okay. Like,
Mhm.
because I personally think that I work better more without prepping
Hmm.
a lot of stuff because then I can go. Usually it comes down to maybe me going okay, and then like trying to figure it out from there.
Mm.
But I think that's more maybe just for me, like more fun for me
Yeah.
Mhm.
to just kind of go with it and see if I can justify whether or not it happens and all that kind of stuff.
Mm.
Mhm.
um So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, again, perfectly valid if you want to like prep it out like that much,
Mhm.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, that's perfectly valid if you want to fly by the seat of your pants.
mhm,
That's your style, that works best for you.
mhm,
Um, I personally, I feel like a bit of a failure as a DM if I don't have that, like everything all prepped,
sure.
Mm.
and if they come up with this like ideas straight out of left field.
Mhm.
I'm like hurriedly like drawing a cave like behind my DM screen, and I'm like, yeah, sure, that may work. Meanwhile, I'm like stressing the fuck out trying to like fill stuff in with loot,
Mhm.
and then I hand them a hastily scrawled map, and I'm like, definitely prepped that a month ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, again, I don't know. It's one of those things where I don't have that. I have stress obviously at that point, but it's not too bad, you know. It's just like, let's see what happens, you know. Maybe I don't know, because like I have the basis of everything that's in my world, right? I have like I have points, like bullet points of like, this is here, this is here, this is here. And so like, yeah, if they're not going to ask about it, or if they do ask about it, then, and it's something that I actually need to think of, then I'm just like, okay, so then it's like this, and then like I'll actually kind of like go through the process as well.
Yeah.
So I don't know. My sessions are more of like more of a, I guess, me also kind of beta testing in a way. A lot of the time, where my players are gonna go through and then they also like then think of something that I didn't think of, and then I go, okay, so what kind of makes the most sense here? And then I kind of propose it, and if it's like, well, and I'm like, okay, well, and if they have a good enough reason of like how it doesn't make sense or how it does make sense, then I'll be like, okay, yeah, so then I think
Yeah.
that's good, right?
Yeah, I will edit something if the rest of the table kind of communally agrees that's stupid.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's something I, of course, try to avoid
Sure.
being in that situation altogether. But like, if everyone else is like, no, that can totally work because this physics,
Mhm.
I'll be like, true, okay, maybe it totally works.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Being able to work with your players and the logic of the situation is also a very important skill to have as a DM.
Absolutely.
Yeah. For me, a lot of it's sort of internalized a bit, a shard of the Mercer effect, I guess.
Okay.
Not the entirety, but like a seed of it. Where I'm like, ooh, I should have had this prepared 3 months ago. Why isn't this town filled with NPCs yet?
Yeah, no, I don't do that. I'm just like, I
was like, yeah, whatever.
There's
fine.
a guy here. What's his name? Ah, fuck.
Oh.
I have. Hold on, let me check my notes. There was a noble that they talked to at the party.
Yeah.
And it was something that I only threw a couple nobles at them to talk to because they were just walking into the middle of a party after intimidating one of the guards at the party with the "Do you know who I am?"
Sure, yeah.
sort of thing. And the name of the two nobles that they talked to, I forgot the name of the dude because I made it up on the spot.
Mhm.
But the name of the lady was Heidi McStronningvanheim.
Nice. Yeah, there you go.
Nice.
That's a real name that someone named them.
That was the name I finished making the name of while I was saying the name.
Yeah, I love it. That's how names
But, like,
be.
miraculously, they super impressed Heidi McStronningvanheim and her fiance.
Who will go unnamed because I do not care.
Who will go unnamed, yes.
Yeah, I feel that.
Like, they left with, out of a 100, their final opinion of the party was a 90.
Hey.
And I'm like, what?
That's pretty good.
Yeah, they want to go hunting with you sometime.
Hell yeah. Alright, let's get back to the video here. See what's next point.
Tip number 4 is one that's related to tip number 3 in terms
Yes!
of the extra player prep, and that is consider a character journal.
Yes.
What I'm talking about here is writing down some reflections from the perspective, in a first-person perspective, of your character.
It's so fun.
I think this can really be a helpful private exercise in terms of you discovering your own character a little bit more so that you can role-play them better after trying to get in their head a little bit and write down some things that they might be thinking. but I actually had a player in a game I was a part of share his own character journal in the Facebook group I was a part of for the rest of the group. He was fairly new to the group, so it was a really great way for us to get to know his character a little bit and get a little bit of meta knowledge. And also, I'm sure it was very helpful for him in terms of discovering his character himself. So this is something that can be really cool, and it's a great thing to share between group members if you think players can avoid metagaming with that knowledge. And sometimes it's just a great way to develop the story and develop a better shared experience at the table. I was inspired by this a while back, and I actually did a player journal video from the perspective of my character Aiden, who is a wood elf from Shadevale in the Provokers campaign, and I'll put a link to that video in the description below. You can check out that little player journal. It's a little bit cheesy, maybe a little bit cliche in some ways, but I really enjoyed making it, and it was helpful for me to learn to roleplay that character a little bit better.
I wholeheartedly agree with this so fucking hard.
I've never actually thought about it.
Dude, when we played the Curse of Strahd campaign and I was playing that author, the way that I kept my notes for that campaign
was
in
I
my
remember
journal.
That.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was so fun. And one of the things, because I like making character journals, I'm making one for one of my players' father.
Oh, cool.
Who decided to incidentally also become a vampire hunter, and at some point in time, I'm just going to give that to one of the players when they happen across it in game.
Sure.
And I'm going to be like, here you go. Look through that.
Yeah, I just I don't have anything against it. In fact, I also encourage it. Absolutely. It sounds like a great way to kind of get more into character. I just have never considered it for myself at all. And I'm sure it could help or whatever. But I don't know.
I wholeheartedly endorse it.
Sure. Yeah. I think it's more because I would rather just kind of take notes and then because Curse, I remember a lot of things that are not going to be useful to me in my everyday life. So I kind of like remember every session, and I kind of like know how my character is going to be through most of the time. But that's just me. So I don't think I would need it, and also like writing more than I have to is not something that I want to do when I also have to think about like my world and other things. You know?
Yeah.
It's and again, it's totally good for a player to do if they really need, if they are not really need, but if they really want to have that kind of experience, because it sounds amazing and I wish I could do it, but I think I would immediately just like not do it after maybe a page, because I would forget about it or something. But that's just a fault on my part.
Yeah, the reason that I was able to remember to keep doing it was because that was my notes and I was the party scribe.
Oh yeah, fair enough.
So I was kind of forced into remembering to do the journal, even if I didn't fill it out that night and filled it out the next day.
Yeah.
It's also a fantastic way to keep track of time.
Oh, true.
Because you will absolutely know what day of the week it is, and like the month and date so well. And I personally struggle with that in general, so
yeah, there you go.
That's really helped me.
Tip number 5 is try a different voice. Now, I'm not just talking about an accent here. I know not everyone is good at accents, and you don't have to talk in some ridiculous tone, although that's part of the fun of the game for some people. And I know that for other people, at the same time, they are totally against it, and they find it really weird. They very much dislike it. But anyway, I encourage you to try to talk like your character. And maybe that just means talking a little slower, a little more gruffly, a little faster, a little more high pitch, a little more cheerful than you normally are, whatever it is. Or sure, go ahead and try some Scottish brogue. Go for it. I just know that for me, it is a fun part of the game. And secondly, it really does help me distinguish when I am talking in character, which can help me better think in character, which is definitely one of my goals when I play Dungeons and Dragons, to think in character.
He said it, right? Like, I do it all the time. I have specific, like, I know when I play a female character, I have a little bit of a softer voice, in order to just kind of like have that as a reminder, I guess. Depending on the personality as well. I mean, I made an NPC who is like one of the faction leaders of a rogue element, and on the spot, basically, I started to talk very differently, and I realized, like, as I kept going of how he would sound and how he would be, and I just kind of made the voice as it went of, like, he likes to enunciate some things and just kind of really take his time enjoying how he talks to people about certain things. In fact, really trying to put into their mind exactly his purpose, something like that.
Yes, of course, the sort of self-indulgent person.
It's not even that much though, because that has an air of haughtiness, right? That's like, yes, I think that you should be a part of my court because I think, right? Like, there's, but it's a little bit more of like just. He really enjoys his speaking, right? When he enjoys talking to somebody when he's talking about something that is rather fun to him. So it's a whole like different manner of speech. And then I have another character who is also kind of like that in a way, but he's a little different in the sense that he's more speaking to people, like he's talking down to everybody, but he's trying to mask it.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, he's great. He's manipulative and a bastard, and I love him.
Yeah. I've had a couple characters like that.
Yeah, and so like, and you just have to think of like what's the personality behind the character, and you can just do your own voice, but a little different. It's very fun. Yeah, I mean, yeah, try it out. If you, he did bring up the point of like some people hate it.
Yeah,
that's strange.
I've never heard that.
Yeah, I've never hated it. I know I'm not very good at it, but I've never hated it.
I've heard of people who dislike it to the point where they don't like other people doing it.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
That's very strange.
Yeah. And my response to them is always, well, get fucked, it's not your character.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's like, I hate the way they talk. I'm like, okay. But you know that this is the character, though, so I guess.
Again, that's a preferred style, and some don't like it, but I encourage you to try it. So those are my 5 tips for you guys this time. Thanks so much for joining me. I also want to hear from you in the comments down below. Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, that's another solid video.
Yeah.
Absolutely. A lot of good tips. Are there any more that we can think of that are like not covered? You say. Of course, read your player's handbook.
Yes.
Fucking, my God, I don't care if it's a big book and you just read your class at least, right?
Yeah, like, read your class and read your spells, please.
If you have spells, please read your spells, like make a notation of what they do, if they're verbal somatic material, how long they last, what the range is, just something, please, just read
Write a spell book.
Write a spell book, maybe. It's really fun. I write spell books for myself. It is so fun to just write out exactly how it is and how it looks, maybe. Like, flavor it differently. Who knows? Right? Like,
and then just pray your character doesn't die.
Pray.
A spell does not have to be a spell, does not have to be a spell.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, so please read your fucking player's handbook. My God. Don't come fucking crying to me when you go, can I do this with this? And I go, this is the 4th time, sir.
No.
Right? Like, I don't know off the top. Well, actually, I usually know off the top of my head, but you should know your character by now.
At that point in time, just tell them, go ahead and give it a shot. And
really.
then when it invariably doesn't work and they're now a spell slot out, be like, let this be a lesson.
I know, exactly. Like, every now and again, I will of course go, well, your character would know how this spell works, right? Like, every now and again. Because, like, if you're divine, and they haven't, like, been like that for a while, then I'll be like, yeah, okay, so you would at least know this about your spell.
Yeah.
Like, concentration spells, right? Where it's like, this is a concentration spell. Your character would know that.
Yeah.
Right?
I would say as a tip for players, and this is a bit more for advanced players, after you've read the player's handbook for the edition that you play, consider reading the player's handbook for other editions, because you might find some cool spells or some interesting role play and or combat ideas.
Yes.
That you can then ask your DM and say, hey, this is implemented right here. What would be your thoughts on me somehow or another doing this, or at least something similar, in your campaign? And I can't speak for all DMs, but most of the ones that I do know, if it's a cool ass idea, we'll probably find some way to put it in.
Yeah.
Totally.
Like, most DMs are very happy to work with their players on something that the players want to do, and that the DMs are like, "Oh, that's kick ass."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I fucking hope so.
And if I may,
yeah,
you remember when we were doing our Underdark campaign, or when we had the idea for that Underdark campaign that never came about?
Yes.
What I did was I knew that we were all super busy, and so what I did was I went around looking for Underdark materials, because I know of the Underdark, but I don't know many details about the Underdark, like the environments and the cities and the culture and stuff like that.
Sure.
And I stumbled upon a book from, I don't even remember what edition it was. I think it was third edition. I don't remember.
Probably is. It has a lot.
Yeah, I don't remember. Anyway, it was a book simply called Underdark. And it laid out many. Huh?
What was in it?
Eat me. And it laid out all the different cities, the different layers, like the different levels of the Underdark, all the races that inhabited said levels, and the general types of areas you might find there. And it also had some unique races and also classes and stuff in relation to said races. And the race that it does not exist in the 5e materials, you can find it homebrewed though, is a race called the Gloaming.
Oh, hell yeah.
The Gloaming are essentially, they're like fey creatures. They're, imagine like halflings, except they hail from the Shadowfell, and they have big brown and different colored furry wings. And just reading that entry, it's like, wow, I want to play as a Gloaming.
Yeah, I just found them.
I started doing research on the Gloaming in that book, and it's like they have this city. I forget exactly what it was called, but it's a city that is kind of halfway between the planes. It's halfway in the material plane and halfway in the Shadowfell.
Oh, cool.
And the Gloaming are really, really big on exploration, just because they like to explore things. And their city is a hodgepodge of like weird towers and buildings and all these kinds of different structures that are taken from other cultures, because they like to explore. They explore, they find things and they draw it, or like they cast spells or whatever. They remember it and then they rebuild it in their town.
Oh, cool.
And so what I did was I made this character who was the like the son of a pair of like an alchemist. His mother was an alchemist, and the way this is also a part of the whole alchemy thing. The way the government in the city works is anybody born in the city or anybody who's a citizen of the city can run for office on like a kind of like a Senate type thing, but it's like five members of like powerful. They're called the oligarchical families.
Okay, cool.
And the way you run for office is you go out on an adventure and you bring something awesome back. And the more awesome it is, the better chance you have of being elected. Seriously.
That's great. I love that.
And so the way that links back to alchemy was my mother was an alchemist, and she would always tell me stories of the Philosopher's Stone. And so my character's whole motivation was to go on adventures and find or create a Philosopher's Stone, go back, get elected to be an elected official, and then like open the city up to new planes to explore, to find new shit.
That's cool.
So definitely, if you're building a character, look at older editions materials.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Because all that came from one book. It came from one book and one word, gloaming. That's it. That's all
Fun fact, I think I mentioned this to you when you first told me about the gloaming, Boo.
Mm-hmm.
But gloaming is also a synonym for like
evening.
that time of day when it's like sunset and the sun is like beyond the horizon, but the sky is still kind of lit up. It's sort of like twilight-ish.
It's actually technically called nautical twilight.
Oh.
Because there's enough light to where ships can still navigate.
Oh.
Because there's still enough light to where they can see land masses.
You've learned something
cool.
today, people. Good job.
Yes, nautical twilight.
Well, I hope they've learned a few things.
I would hope that they learn everything all the time, whenever they listen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely read older editions materials.
Yes.
Especially things like monster manuals.
Yeah.
Monster manuals, fiend folios, whatever.
Yeah. And I'm looking at this stuff and I'm like, man, look at all this shit. Oh man.
I know.
Remember when you had
to play again?
Remember when you had to do level adjustment? I do. Oh man. Good stuff.
So it's here where we do our intermission.
Yeah, let's do an intermission here.
Yeah,
that sounds
we're
good
at
to
about
me.
the halfway point exactly.
Time for our ad.
Oh yeah, fair enough.
Time for our sponsor of the week.
No, we don't have one. No.
We're sponsored this week by Yorkshire Tea.
No. No, I can't. I can't go in on spiffing Brit's turf. My goodness.
Yeah. I wish they would sponsor him. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be so cool.
I tell you what, though, what I am getting sick of seeing ads for is Arc Knights, and that's because
I'm stopping for the intermission. I wonder if there's some sort of port town.
Yeah.
Oh.
I wonder if they deal primarily in trade.
They do.
Oh.
What?
You've subverted me. You've subverted my
expectations. No.
I think I said this in like our first ever episode.
Yeah.
But I will say it till the day I die. I am so fucking sick of people using subverting expectations
as a way to avoid just saying it's shit.
Oh my god, you're just mad because you weren't expecting it, and I'm like, yeah, you're right. I wasn't expecting it to be awful. You're absolutely right.
Yeah,
I know. Believe me. It's only fucking stupid people that say that.
We've been hinting that she was mad since season 1.
Daenerys always been a bad bitch. She's never once been totally fine with saving slaves and also the common folk. She would totally just burn everyone in a fucking firestorm.
When she said I refuse to be queen of the ashes, I knew what she really meant was burn, motherfuckers, burn. I saw it from episode 2. As soon as I saw her brother molesting her, I knew.
One day this bitch, she's gonna burn innocents. Yeah.
I know those titties. Those are crazy person titties.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Well, I had started the recording a while ago.
Oh.
No, it's fine.
I'm at SneakyAdolf, and you're listening to Tabletop.
Tabletops don't make any noise.
Yeah.
Table
Okay.
talk, rather. Table talk, damn it.
Yeah, see, that's, dude, I was doing that when I was, like, recording, stuff for, like, the audio versions. Anyway, hello, welcome back.
Yep. We're back. We're going to talk
We're
about
back.
people who are shitty at using dice, apparently.
I'm, oh
We're
boy.
back again, and brought to you by Arknights.
No! I tried!
I'm
So,
so sick of people talking about Arknights, but that's because everyone's
God,
talking about Arknights.
shut up.
It's the new hit game.
You know when anybody says a new hit game, new and hit don't go together.
Not usually.
Not usually. And
I've never seen a new hit have a lifespan of longer than 3 months.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
like,
Oh my god, did you get... Oh no, Boo doesn't use Twitter, and I don't think Aiden saw it. Did you hear about, Raid Shadow Legends?
oh god, what? Tell me.
The tweet
Yes.
that they put out that was
What?
like,
No.
we don't sponsor the people that work with us. No. We just let them influence or something. Let me go pull it up. It was so funny. Oh my god, it was so fucking funny.
Wait, hold on. Are they saying that none of their promotions have ever been paid?
Yeah.
Because if so, that's fucking fraud.
I
and you
know.
will get lit the fuck up in court.
It is
Yeah.
fucking hilarious. I gotta find it. And
I
oh,
want to
man.
see this shit.
Hang on.
That is so illegal.
Yeah.
I think it wasn't. I don't remember
It's also
if it's
illegal to have a game as popular and amazing as Raid Shadow Legends.
Ah, God.
That's a weird way of pronouncing Arknights. Have you guys seen the new Arknights ads where it's
I
some
haven't even seen
streamer-
a single one.
What?
Dude, I see them
How?
on I see them on like every single video I see.
Okay.
But there's literally, it's like some streamer who's trying so hard to be leafy.
Oh
Yep.
no.
I've seen that a million
And
times.
Really?
he's like, yeah, now that I've got this unit here, I've got to watch out for this unit. And I'm like, did I like log into a random Twitch stream by accident? And then I look and it's like, you can skip ad in 10 seconds. And I'm like, motherfucker.
I've seen ads that were like that for other things. I haven't seen that
Mhm.
one.
They
Okay.
do have one ad, which is I actually do got to give them credit, and it's like, are you sick of your boring life
Yep.
with boring friends and your boring girlfriend?
Wow.
and it's got like the friends are at a party and they look over and the person who is ostensibly off playing Arknights is a mannequin with a party hat, and it's
Yep.
like, oh, your boring girlfriend, and it's like the girlfriend in bed, and she looks over to like the empty spot in bed, and it's that same mannequin with the same party hat, and I'm like,
Yep.
that's pretty good.
That's pretty
Yeah.
good. So I've linked it in the Discord. Yeah. It says, "Hi there. We do not sponsor. We cooperate only with those YouTubers who play our game and want to be our influencers. We do not pay money for it." It's It's insane.
That is a fucking lie.
Oh,
and
I
you
know.
will absolutely get sued by
quite literally
the
everyone
US
that
government.
like everyone who saw that who was paid by them was like, "What the fuck?"
Oh, hey, internet historian replying to this.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
nice.
oh man.
Excuse me, I received money from you.
Yeah, I know. Oh man, it's funny. It's just funny.
What was there was a video I was showing, I thought it was to one of you guys, about having to be super clear in terms of whether or not you label something as a sponsored video, and they literally mentioned a part of like a US government instructional video.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
What video was that?
I don't remember what video it was, but I remember you showing it. It's been a while. I don't know.
Because they're like, it needs to be clearly said in the beginning of the video that this video has been sponsored.
Yeah.
And everyone does that for Raid Shadow Legends. So, let's get on to the topic at hand.
God damn it.
Ways...
It's so entertaining, though.
Oh, I know.
Now Arknights is your best friend.
Yeah.
So... this is ways you may be doing dice wrong player character tips by, what was it?
How to be a great GM.
Okay, so...
the thumbnail, are you a dice tosser?
Really?
Yes.
Great. Oh, I never mentioned that the fucking... So, you remember last fucking last fucking podcast when we fucking looked at that feats video?
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Did you see the thumbnail for that?
5 cringy feats and how to fix them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
we didn't even mention that, and I need to say,
that
God.
was the whole title. How'd you miss the...
No, it wasn't the title. It's not the title of the video.
It wasn't?
No, it's completely different.
5 cringy feats.
Yeah, that's
the title is 5 terrible feats.
Yeah.
Oh, see, I thought that was the title. I was like, it's pretty fucking stupid.
Yeah, no, he completely no.
He changed the title as he was uploading the video.
Exactly. I don't understand. Anyway, let's see what we're doing with our dice.
Yes.
Hello and welcome to this episode of How to Be a Great Player. Well, my name is Guy, and today's episode I'm asking the question, are you a dice tosser? And the reason why I ask that with a little bit of venom in my voice is because some people don't know how to roll dice.
Really? We're doing this, are we?
He actually does go into some fair points with it.
I don't have any doubt that he has points. What I'm going to say is, are you really upset at people for tossing dice wrong?
No, tosser as in the slang term.
That's the other thing. Yeah, okay. So are you really is it slighting you so much that you call them a tosser?
Dude,
that's fucked.
Dude, that's my whole issue with this guy's whole channel, is because I'm like, is this really that big of a deal to you?
I wonder, because like right off the bat, I'm immediately like, I roll my dice the way I roll my dice. I'm sorry, right? So I mean, not a good first impression, but here we go.
For me, it's the smug sense of superiority.
I can feel it. I can feel it already, which is annoying.
It'll become more apparent.
Okay, cool.
Now, many moons ago when the channel first started, we did a April Fool's joke where we identified how one should roll the dice. I didn't realize that a lot of people took that as advice on how to actually roll dice.
Look, okay.
He's not, no. He's not going into, like, how you should roll dice. Like,
but that's what he said.
That's not what I mean.
Okay.
He's not going into like, oh, this is the proper way to roll dice. He's going into ways that essentially he talks about the way people like are really, really sus when they roll dice. That's what he's going into mostly.
Yeah,
Okay.
he does mention a couple fair points, like covering up your dice roll and
Yeah.
stuff like
So
that.
basically,
Oh, well,
one
yeah.
of the big things that he
That's
goes into
fucked.
is that you roll a dice, you see it, immediately pick it up. Like
Yeah,
the
and you pick it
instant
up.
it stops. So like, oh,
Mhm.
it's a 20.
Okay.
That kind of thing.
Okay.
So it's not like, oh, you're rolling technique. You have to
Well, then he should.
your wrist.
He should really lay off a bit then, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
am I
he
not
doesn't-
wrong in hearing, like, what I'm hearing is, I know how to roll dice better than you do.
Yeah, it's not worded. It's not
Okay.
worded very well. In the
All
beginning.
right. Okay.
RPG Pundit and I are working on the ultimate roleplay experience. He writes the campaigns. I teach people how to roll dice.
It's just that's I really just wish he didn't have that air about him. That's all.
Yeah.
Also at
Dice don't
the
have to be this.
Yeah. Also though.
at the very bottom in the more videos, there's the "Are your plots bad?" and I feel RPG Pundit. Like I see the specter of RPG Pundit.
He follows.
Well, this might be another gold mine for you.
Oh god.
One that's not Cody.
Well,
Big,
So we've got
but
two
there are
gold
some
mines.
fundamentals about dice that if you are doing, then I'm going to call you a tosser. And the reason is because you're just plain irritating.
Oh no.
Now,
Okay.
before we get going, the reason
I'm
that
irritating.
what motivated this was I got sent this little bag of goodies. Now, this is from Hackstech, and Hackstech have released these. These are absolutely beautiful. Now, they sent me a couple of
gorgeous.
sets so that I could have a look and, of course, mention them on a video, and it inspired this particular video. Now, these are metal enameled dice. They're absolutely, absolutely
Unlike
gorgeous.
Raid Shadow Legends, they purchased their sponsorship.
I
actually wanted to ask, what do you guys think of metal dice?
I have
I-
some.
Yeah, I have a few sets.
I don't have any.
Yeah,
Oh.
the thing is, my problem with metal dice is that one, they look gorgeous, and so they're really, really tempting to use. However,
Mhm,
I feel like they're gonna damage any velvet that I roll them in
mhm.
and like rip it up.
I
Other
just-
than that, I like them.
I'm usually less worried about velvet and more worried about hardwood, with
Mm.
like polish and stuff on that. I also feel like a dick every time I use them because they're just so heavy that
Yeah.
they like thunderously roll across the table.
Sure,
Yeah.
yeah.
And it feels like when everyone else has more regular dice rolls, and then there's mine that's like fucking the 40th Symphony with the cannon in it.
Okay.
Like
Bitch.
it feels a bit self-masturbatory, kind of.
But
Okay.
what's wrong with that? Come on.
No.
Um, that being said, when when the party's in combat and there's like a hit that could absolutely down a player, I absolutely will use metal dice for that
Okay.
Nice.
because
I-
I want them to hear that roll and sweat.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I like metal dice, like the look of them. I just don't like the way they feel when I roll them.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are a bit less satisfying.
It just doesn't feel it doesn't feel satisfying. It doesn't feel right. I don't know. It just doesn't work with me. Plus, I don't know. It's just they don't make me go, "Oh, I really want them," right? They look great. They look really good. Absolutely. But
Yeah.
I don't have the same appeal for that as I would for, I don't know, any other dice set that isn't metal. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think with metal dice, the actual designs on the dice are much more limited because I imagine the metal itself is a bit harder to work with than just, the plastic / polymer.
I also just wonder about balancing for them. That's all.
Yeah,
so-
that's true.
Metal.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a lot harder to do the salinity check.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, personally, I know a lot of people say that metal dice are a lot more satisfying to roll, but when I'm like sort of shaking them in my hand, they feel a bit like unwieldy almost.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Mm.
Um, And it's not like, I'm some fucking spaghetti arm wimp who, like, the weight of a metal D20 rolling at like 2 miles an hour is really throwing my aim off.
My
But
wrist!
yeah, but I like to be able to like grab 3 or 4 of the clicky clacky math rocks together in my hand and shake them up and hear the and then boom!
Yeah, exactly.
My third nat 20 in a row. Like, thank God for the DM screen.
Yeah.
Lovely weight to them, such lovely sound. And I thought, these are pretty good dice. I roll them. I can see the numbers clearly.
That's good.
Everybody around the table can see the numbers
Okay.
because they're big, they're bold, and they're obvious. So I'm
just gonna point out, you can have that be with regular dice too.
Yeah.
That's
This is him transitioning into a point.
I know. I'm just saying. It's also a thing you can do with regular dice. I don't know.
I'm going to demonstrate, not with these dice because they're not big enough for the demonstrations, but I'm going to take you through some of the ways that people use their dice or don't use their dice as appropriate. And if you want to get a set of those dice, I mean, they really are stunning. There are links below on where you can go and find them. I suggest you have a look. They're very reasonably priced and they ship fairly quickly. So let's say you're using a bigger dice. Or maybe not that big. Let's say you're using a dice like this. Firstly, when people come to the table and they say, oh, these are my dice. They are so small. I don't have a set with me, actually, because I was given a set of really small dice, which you couldn't read unless you had a magnifying glass. They roll the dice, and then they peer at it, or they don't know where the hell the thing's gone, because it's so small. But they think it's cute. It's not cute. It's irritating. And if only you can read the dice, well, that's fine. I'm not saying that you're a cheater or anything, or trying to obscure your numbers from those that are sitting next to you, but really small dice are frustrating and irritating.
So, do you not have enough trust in your player that they can read the dice and tell you what the number is?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what is the issue other than you don't like it?
Like, I literally never check the rolls of my players.
Same.
Because they roll out in the open as like a measure of good faith.
Yeah.
But if I look over to like where even like the players who are closest to me, if I look over at their D20 from the angle I'm at, I can't read what it says.
Exactly. Okay. Like, again, this just seems to be a personal thing for you. This isn't really a point against anyone. Like, this isn't a valid.
Theme of this. That'll be a theme of this video.
I hope not. That's the problem. Because like that is just like, again, fucking deal with it. I don't know what you're
I have
doing.
literally nothing wrong against super super tiny sets of dice. Matter of fact, Alejo, we've played with people that had super tiny sets of dice, and I thought those things were kick ass.
They're cool.
Yeah,
I think
I literally. Oh, go on.
Okay. I think that if they have them, if they're designed in such a way that you, as a person who are rolling them, can't read them, yeah, that's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, but like, you would recognize that, and so would anyone else, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's a fault of the design itself. But if it's still clear enough, it's fine. I don't know.
What was I gonna say?
Apologies.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I watched this video a couple weeks ago after Boo posted it to the Source channel.
Sure.
And then next time that I was in Bull Moose, my eyes happened across a set of miniature dice, and I bought them out of spite.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
And rather than push the game forward, move the game along, everyone has to wait whilst you look for that minuscule, minute little dice and try and figure out what's written on it.
I don't know about you as well, though. If you have dice that blend in with the table that much, like, or you don't have, I don't know, a rolling tray or something, like, I don't know. There are a lot of things that can mitigate this issue.
Yeah, this is easily fixable.
Very easily. You could create a little dice space with books. Like,
Yeah,
or like with a cardboard flat.
Yeah, literally anything. It's not hard. So, I don't know. Maybe, like, suggest that and not be a snobby dick about it. I don't know!
No, but it's ways that you're doing dice wrong, though.
Oh, okay. Cool.
The same goes for people who like clear dice. This is a clear dice. I can,
Are you
in
fucking
theory,
kidding me?
see through it. But the numbers are in a nice opposite color, and it's really not that see-through. I'm talking about people who have absolutely crystal clear see-through dice, where the numbers are so vague that you stare at it and you go, I don't know if I'm looking at the number on the top of the dice or on the back of the dice.
Do you just have vision problems, sir?
To be fair, I do know someone who has a set of dice that are like slightly refractive, but pretty much translucent and have silver numbers.
Okay.
And it has caused some issues in terms of them like looking and studying their dice.
Okay.
And I'll bring this up later. With another point that he brings up.
Okay. I personally have not seen...
I felt it. I felt it somewhat, but I've never been like so mad that I've considered making a video about it.
Like, again,
I just sit there and I kind of like, all right.
Yeah, again, I think it would maybe take, I don't know, an extra second if you can't read it initially to read it, right? Like, you just turn it a bit and then go, oh, it's a 2, right? Like,
yeah.
I don't know. What's the deal, sir?
Now, people will often say, oh, but that's so that you can see that there's no air bubbles inside, so you can see it's not a weighted dice. Sure, it's not a weighted dice, but when I look at that dice, I'm not sure what number I'm looking at. I'm not saying you're cheating by obscuring the numbers that people can't look at because they're seeing through your dice. I'm just saying that it's irritating, and once again, we've got someone going... I think it's a 17.
One number will be upside down and reversed.
I was gonna say something, but now I just don't have the energy to. Like, legitimately, that I'm just like, immediately I was like, I have a counterpoint, but also like, I don't think I need to say it now. I don't know, man.
Well, for the sake of the listener.
Fair, I guess. It's just, well, it's not even like a counterpoint. It's just like, again, this just seems like you need to be in complete control of everything. You need to be able to see and read all the dice. And that's just how you are with your DMing, I guess, which is fine, but also, like, do you really get irritated to this degree? Is this really that?
Did we lose Aiden?
Oh,
Aiden?
Oh yeah, we did.
Yep.
Oh no.
Damn
but regardless, like, is this really that irritating? To the point of like, he even keeps saying, I'm not saying you're cheating, and he's doing that.
It's just annoying.
He's doing that like he's doing it like it's a bad thing regardless of whether or not it's cheating, when it's just something that he's annoyed by.
Yeah, I think in a lot of his other videos, he does admit that he's a bit of a control freak.
Okay.
Like when he DMs.
Okay.
And that like when he plays, he has trouble because he's not in as much control.
Okay.
So that's probably a very big factor for that.
Yeah, I would imagine so. I can see the personality being that way.
Yeah.
So apologies, I guess, but at the same time, like,
yeah,
it's still like, if it annoys you, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to learn how to either deal with it or figure out a better way, or talk to your players, man.
Yeah.
You know? Hey.
Yeah, honestly, most of these dice problems can be solved by talking to your players and just being like, hey, like...
Well, then why make the fucking video?
Yeah, well, okay, then why do we watch any of Take 20? So
because he needs to be stopped. No, I feel like for him, I'm like, there's so much potential here for you to make better videos, sir. You know?
Yeah.
I really think that he's a good creator. I think.
Wait,
like,
which one?
Taking 20. I think he's
Okay.
actually like good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's a knowledgeable dude.
Yes.
For certain. I have faith in him that I don't have in like RPG Pundit or how to be
Yeah,
Great
exactly. Like, again, these are criticisms and critiques and also things to discuss.
GM.
These aren't just like we're watching them just to get mad, right?
It's true. Yeah.
So there is a point, no worries, but you know.
Yeah.
Very clearly. Why? Clear dice are great if you can see the number clearly. But if it's a case of not being able to see the number clearly because you can see through the dice, that's a problem.
So he says, I have an issue with clear dice. Clear dice are awful. And he says, clear dice are great.
No. What he's saying about the clear dice, he was saying that the absolutely 100% translucent ones, the clear dice with no color, and the numbers don't have any color.
Yeah.
That's what he's talking about. Because I've seen dice like that.
Yeah. That's perfectly fair. That is kind of hard to read, I suppose. But again, it takes maybe a second to just look at it again in a different angle so you can see the number.
Yeah.
Also, of all the sets of dice that I own, like a lot of them are fairly translucent, but like they're always colored, even if the numbers themselves are just a plain white. And in fairness to How to Be a Great GM, a lot of dice are not like that.
Yeah.
Specifically because of this problem.
I was gonna say.
And chances are, if you have a set like that, a lot of times it's because you went looking for one.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I don't. Again, like I've said before, when you were dead, this seems like you can just talk to your players and resolve this issue very easily.
Yeah.
And you don't have to make a video about it just calling them a tosser.
What do you mean to tell me that communication that is open and frank is good for the table?
No, I'm not saying that at all.
No, we're saying that Raid Shadow Legends is awesome.
Oh, goddamn.
Yeah.
And then my other favorite is people who arrive with these dice that are, well, let's just say irregularly shaped. You see this blob? This is a D12. What? Yes, it's got 12 numbers on it, and as I roll it, it falls over like a lump of clay. Oh, and I got a 3. The next roll, oh, that's a 12. But we don't know if it's regularly shaped or not, so how do we know that when you flick it over, it doesn't automatically land on the side that you want it to land on? That's very strange.
Because you can look
They are interesting, and as someone who has giant bags of dice, because I've collected over the years, they're fantastic as a conversation piece, as a discussion, as a look. If you want to use role-playing dice, they should be shaped like this, so that everyone knows what you're rolling, so there's no confusion. Again, the reason why I say this is because we are all playing the same game. So when you roll dice and the player is sitting next to you, that player wants to get excited for you when you're rolling well.
Okay, alright. I just, like, I have a friend who has a lot of cool, weird dice.
The crystal dice?
No. Just weird, misshapen dice.
Oh, okay.
He's played since fucking 1st edition or 2nd edition.
Okay.
And he just collects dice because dice are cool, right? Yeah. And he gets like some of the ones that are like actually misshapen, like defects, and he gets ones that are intentionally misshapen but are also those things. He doesn't use them. He just kind of shows them off and stuff, and I don't think anyone really does. I'll be honest. Do people actually like go into these games using those kinds of die?
If I had any dice like that, I would. But,
okay.
Like those, you can also clearly look up like unique D4s or something online.
Yeah.
And if you find that on a website, chances are then everyone's going to know, oh, okay, it's not rigged.
Yeah, well, you gotta actually like figure that out, which is fine. Like if it takes 2 searches before you start or during, and then you figure it out pretty quickly. Or the person themselves that wants to use them just goes, I've already researched it, they're fine, and they show the evidence, right? Again,
trust.
I don't know. Yeah, trusting, talking, seems like this would solve your issues there, sir.
Yeah.
Like, if one of my players was like, hey, dude, I got this, like, D3, check it out. I'd be like, cool,
Yeah.
we're probably not ever going to use that because who rolls a D3?
Exactly.
But if I ever need you to roll a D3, go for it.
I believe my friend has like a D like 200 or something.
Oh, wow.
It's like a big fuck off, die, and he's just like, yeah. If ever I have if ever I have a somebody who's playing who wants to do something that's actually impossible, then I'll have them roll this, and if they get a certain number, then they can do it. I'm like, yeah, okay.
Have you guys ever seen those percentile dice where it's a large transparent dice with a smaller opaque dice and that represents like the ones place inside?
Yeah.
No.
And when you roll, the outside of the big sphere is the tens, and on the inside, the ones will be like resting, and then that's how you read it.
Oh.
Yeah, they're like the like nested dice essentially.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, they're really weird. I've never seen one. The my problem with those ones is that the only ones I've ever seen are like fucking tiny.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
And like it's so like imagine a D6 that's like half the size of a regular D6
Oh.
with a D6 that's like an eighth the size of a regular D6 inside of it. And I'm
Okay.
like, what the fuck? How am I supposed to read this thing?
That's fair enough.
Yeah.
The one I saw was a D20 with like a sixth of the size of a D20 inside it.
Okay.
Cool.
It was too small for me to like want to bother with,
Yeah.
but like definitely cool looking.
Yeah, and again, there's nothing against people that want to use them, but if you go up to your DM and they go, well, I'd rather you not, right?
Then defer to the DM.
Then defer
Yeah.
to the DM and just, like, don't use it,
Yeah.
right? Like, again, just talk. Fuck.
Yeah. A lot of these issues can be just resolved by it's like, hey, I don't want to use
Cool.
it. Okay.
Great. Good video. Good video.
Or to sympathize with you when you're rolling poorly. But when you flick over a lump of plastic and it reveals a number, the player next to you can't decide whether they should be happy for you, sad for you, or if the entire physics of the universe means nothing. And that shaped dice is exactly the same as the shaped dice
no one
that they're
can think,
rolling.
sir.
For
Existential
heaven's
dread.
sake, sometimes it's difficult enough to tell the difference between a D10 and a D8 for some people.
If the dice is differently shaped, the numbers lose all meaning.
I was gonna say, oh man.
If the DM said roll a D12 and I saw an 11 appear, I now have no idea if that's good or bad because
Exactly.
the dice is shaped like a triangle.
Just,
Now you've changed the shape of it all. That's making it even more confusing and slowing the game down. So that's on the different types of dice you can use. Are you a dice tosser? Do you use strange or obscure dice specifically so
you're a dick.
that only you can read it?
So angry.
Not saying you're cheating, but it does raise some questions.
Okay, now he's actually associated it. Now he's
maybe,
actually
maybe not.
No. That is a blatant before he was like, you're not cheating, but and I'm like, okay, well, you're being a dick about it, but okay, I guess you're equating it just to being bad like it. But now he's just saying, oh no, you're using these things, but you're probably not cheating, are you? Fuck you, dude. Really?
This is me with taking 20.
There is
actually
one very valid point that he'll mention up, and it's an issue I've had at my table.
Okay.
And my reaction was actually like, I'm not saying you're cheating, but it does raise some red flags.
Sure, but still, like, there's a better way to say that, man. Just like,
but it's not as catching.
But fuck you!
How to be a great GM needs to eat too, man.
I'm sure he's
got
fine.
rent.
I'm sure he's doing fine.
Then, your dice rolling style. Take dice.
So funny.
roll dice.
So
Look
fucking
at
pretentious.
number.
Oh my
Don't
God.
touch dice. Look at number. Call out number. One of my pet peeves are people who go, oh, I got a 16.
That's fair enough.
That's
okay.
valid.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm totally fine with that being
That's
both
valid.
a pet peeve and something you shouldn't do.
Yes.
It can come from a place of innocence because I
Absolutely.
have been in a campaign before where I rolled a 20 and got so fucking hyped I like grabbed my dice and like fucking fist pumped.
Yes, absolutely.
And like looking back, fucking stupid of me, should have waited for people to confirm it.
Yeah.
But like shit happens.
But again, there's an element of trust as well. Like
Yeah.
if you know the person, you go, okay, just like
Yeah.
try not to do that anymore. Just talk
Yeah.
to them and be like, hey,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
please
and
please let me
it
see
was-
it.
Yeah, and it's something that like you know, with time and effort you will break yourself of that habit.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
What? I got a 13. Did it stop rolling before you instantly picked it up and held it towards yourself so that no one else can see what number it is?
But you can
Not
see the
saying
number on
you're
the far
cheating,
side.
but
Yeah.
generally, that's not hard. What number did you get? I got a 2. 6. 9.
That's a little disingenuous though. Like I don't think anybody would just I mean fair enough. I don't
Yeah,
know
well,
I don't know
that's
of
the thing.
anyone who would like actually intentionally spin it in their fucking hand so everyone can see it. Like everyone can see it spin and go, "You're spinning it, you fuck." Right?
Yeah.
Come on.
I've had to teach one player of mine 3 fucking times that the way you tell the difference between a 6 and a 9 is you look at the dot.
Okay.
And the dot should be on the bottom.
Okay. That's
Uh,
unfortunate.
Yeah, 3 times.
But what I mean is
Um,
when they pick it up and they spin it and then say another number,
Oh,
like
yeah.
that's not something anyone's gonna fucking do in their right mind, dude.
Yeah.
Like, come
And
on.
even if they
At least
try
here's
that,
hoping, right?
Yeah.
and even if they do try that, literally everyone on the table is going to be like, get fucked, it's a
That's what
6.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Drop the dice, let it fall, and then watch it. In ancient Rome, if you were caught cheating at dice, they'd cut your hand off.
But we're not in
very
ancient
simple.
Rome, so what's the
Sometimes I have
point?
Some players whom I wish I could cut their hands off.
Wow, that's just this is a bit extreme. All right.
Nah, man, the dice tossers.
They're dice tossers.
They're not human.
Yeah, exactly. That's so fucking. That's just. All right.
Because I
It's
know
just-
they roll and then pick it up. The next one, which I particularly...
By the way, he said before it's not cheating, but and now he's just said I'll cut their hands off because they're doing it because it's cheating. It's contradictions, man. Come on.
Maybe not.
I fucking like. It's just I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. Consistency, internal consistency. Just be fucking consistent. Ah.
Ike is the one where the player has 6 or 7 sets of dice all clumped together and they're all similar colours. So they take their d20 and they roll it, or their d6 or whatever dice they're using, and they roll it into the pile. And then look at the d20s or the d6s or whatever
never
dice
seen
they're looking at
anyone
and
do
call out
this.
a number. The rest of us don't really know which dice they rolled because it's their dice. We're not really paying attention. We're looking at our stats and other things. And you look up and you go, oh, which was your dice?
Are you a stats
Which
tosser?
is the one that succeeded? That one.
Find out next video.
I just again.
I've never seen anyone do this.
No, I've never
This
even
feels
thought of
made up.
this. I just
Yeah, like I've never, like, whenever I play a game, I only ever have one set of dice in front of me.
I have 2, but they're usually
I-
different.
Okay.
I have like 4.
Yeah.
Jesus.
But like, who collects dice and has any 2 of those sets look anything alike?
I will say there are some that I can see that being the case.
Yeah, I own a pair, 2 sets of dice that look somewhat similar,
Mhm.
but they are different colors. They're like a split of 3 different colors. I think one's like purple, brown, and orange, and the other one is like yellow, red, and blue or something.
Sure. And like again, I've seen many dice that are somewhat similar, but I don't think anyone's rolling them into their dice sets.
Yeah.
To as we've said, keeping all of their dice out all the time, potentially. I mean, it depends, obviously. We've had 3 examples of different perspectives there. But I just...
Yeah, granted, having the 2 sets is a bit hyperbole on my point. And maybe the 6 or 7 sets of dice that all look the same is hyperbole on his point.
I would agree, but he's making the point of you have at least several sets. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
At least 2 other sets that are similarly colored to a point of it being a problem.
And I don't see that ever happening.
I don't see this being a problem at all that anyone would even think about doing. Like, in any sense. They want to know what their die is too. I have 2 sets usually because I want to, like, if one set is like just rolling shit, right? I'll have the other set. And I mean, I keep them relatively separated in the sense of like I roll one way and they're in another space.
Yeah.
Even in my dice tray, I have them along the bottom and I roll forward. Right? So
go on. Most people I know of that have multiple sets of dice out at a time do one of 2 things. The first is they order it so that all the dice are nice and pretty and sitting in a row, ordered by number.
Sure.
The second option is they hoard all of their dice towards themselves, sort of like poker chips.
Yep.
And then they roll out forward into empty space or even sideways, still winds up going into empty space. So like with the exception of someone botching their roll, and by that I mean like it slips out of their hand by accident and then accidentally like rolls into the dice and upsets everything. In which case I typically will just say re-roll the dice.
Yeah.
So I'll say, for the benefit of the doubt, sure, there's someone out there who does this. Okay, just talk to them.
Yeah.
Tell them they're being a dice tosser.
Maybe
cut off their filthy thumbs.
No, please, my fucking god, just say, hey, could you not do that? Or give them a makeshift dice tray. It's real easy.
Yeah.
But you could cut their hands off.
But you could cut their hands off, so I need to. Because the Romans did it, so why can't I?
Yeah. Just say, hey man, I noticed that you seem to roll into your pile a lot, and that must be inconvenient for you. Roll out into the center of the table, or use this spare bit of cardboard. Because if you don't want to use the cardboard, I have a band saw.
Yes.
I'm not saying you're cheating.
But I'm gonna cut your hand off anyway.
Fucking hate this.
I'm not saying that you're purposely trying to cheat. Maybe you like to roll lots of dice or one dice into a collection of dice because it'll somehow affect things. Yes, absolutely. Not.
Oh.
It won't do
Oh, fuck. I
The other
just
option
remembered
is-
another fucking point of his.
Oh, okay.
Alright.
Someone who goes,
Oh.
okay, I'm going to roll that one, I'm going to roll that one, and I'm going to roll that one, and oh, it was the red one. The red one was the one that that's the actual number. The other dice I just rolled to keep it company. What?
What?
Again, no one would do this. Not
No
even
one-
Laura Bailey.
Yeah, no one fucking does this. I don't know where you're getting this from. What the fuck? Okay.
That's honestly kind of hilarious. Nothing like, oh my god, if I saw a player doing that, I would laugh in their face.
Yeah, no, and I'd be like, re-roll it.
Yeah. It's
Like,
Yeah.
and use that die, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'd point it out. But, like, dude, again,
Your
Ugh.
dice is a grown-up. It can roll by itself.
the only time that I can see people rolling multiple dice is
if
if
you're
they
rolling
need
damage with your attack
to.
roll?
Yeah, if they're making an
Yeah.
attack and rolling their damage as well.
Mhm.
Or they're rolling
Or
with
if-
advantage.
Or with
or
advantage. Yeah, I was
disadvantage.
gonna say advantage or disadvantage.
It's not hard. Again, okay.
And if you'd picked this one up and said it's this one because it's pretty, and the red one is just for the sound, roll a dice that is called for.
I would even be fine with them doing this.
Mm.
If they declared, "Hey, I'm rolling these dice for the fuck of it. It's the purple one."
Yeah.
Okay. A
sure.
bit bizarre, but go for it.
That's fine. I really want them to have a friend. Buddy system!
Yeah. This right here is my lucky dice, and I'm trying to shake some of the luck from my lucky dice into this
Yeah,
one.
there's a lot of
Ooh.
superstitions.
By the way, he'll talk about superstitions later, and
Oh,
that's what made me go, "Oh
Jesus.
fuck!"
Not multiple dice. It really won't change anything. Trust me. It really physically won't change anything. Unless
Actually,
they're
that's not
magnetic.
true. It could. You could knock one die into another and have it roll something else. That's I've seen it. I've seen rolling dice together and they've bounced in such a way that they hit each other and then bounced a different way and got a different number, right?
But the likelihood of getting that number is still just as equal as it would have been.
No,
if you
of
rolled
course.
dice
I'm
alone.
just saying it does kind of affect it a little bit. It's not gonna. It just changes whatever it was, right?
So you're telling me I should cut off the hands?
Yeah, I'm telling you that you should cut off the hands, but no, what I'm saying is like
That's gonna be the new fear.
it's for this guy, yeah. I'm afraid of you cutting off his hands. But what I'm saying is like when you roll with advantage or with disadvantage for 5th edition, at least, I mean, they can hit each other and they will technically like do something, but it's not anything significant. So
It's like bingo.
Yeah.
You can put 100 balls in the giant roller.
Yeah.
The chance of getting any one of those balls is still just as random.
Exactly.
And if it does change something, by the way, if it does change the outcome of your dice rolling, then that is technically cheating.
No,
Because you
I
shouldn't
just
alter
said
It's not.
the
It's
outcome of the
literally-
dice in any shape or form. It should roll, and that's the number that should happen. So if you are able to somehow change the outcome of your dice by rolling multiple dice together, you are technically cheating.
That's if like JoJo rules apply. and
Yeah, I
you're
was
like,
gonna
or
say.
Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah.
my stand has such precision that it can shake the 3 dice that are in there, that the 2 dice when I roll all 3 will both aim and then they'll hit the 3rd one, and the 3rd one will land at a natural 20.
Exactly.
Like,
If you grasp physics that well, Jesus, I might as well just commend
Like,
you and then
barring Devil May Cry or JoJo physics,
Yeah.
that's literally not going to affect anything.
Exactly. Does he live in
granted-
our world?
Granted, he does say
Huh?
it's not going to affect anything, but if it does, it's cheating, and
Yeah.
I will give him that. If you use
I-
your stand
I
to
s-
shoot dice at a dice, then that is cheating.
I suppose so, yes.
Darby would have your soul.
And he'll have your hands.
Right. Back to people who roll and pick up and drop dice.
Thought we were off this point.
Other players that I have come across,
What?
I particularly enjoy when they take their dice and they purposefully roll it behind something, a mug or under some pages, so that they then have to
Trust.
lift up the page. Oh, it went under the page. It's a 15. On a 12-sided dice? What?
What? Are you fucking kidding me? Yeah, of course if somebody's doing that, then it's fucking cheating, you idiot. Of course. But no one's fucking doing that. I hope. Unless you've actually
I
met
sure hope.
Unless you've actually met these people and you've kicked them out of your fucking group, then good, I'm glad you did. But also, like, these are fucking so outliers.
Yeah.
What
Like,
the fuck?
And if you don't cheat.
No,
But,
don't
like,
fucking cheat.
if-
It ruins
because
the
if you
fun
cheat,
for
it'll
you.
cut your
But
hands
like, but like literally,
cut your
though,
hands off.
if you're the dumbass saying I rolled a 15 on a D12, you deserve to get your hands cut off.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what?
Like,
Controversial, heated gamer moment. If you're that stupid and you're cheating, get your hands cut off.
No, like, I just don't understand how you could even think that this is something that people do intentionally. I have accidentally rolled my dice under something, and then I've gone, oh, fuck. Right? Like, and then I move the thing first, and then I look at the die, or something, or then I go, hey, oh no, it moved the dice, I should re-roll this. Can I re-roll this? Right? Like, I take responsibility. I'm a proper human being who knows right and wrong a little bit. I don't know. Cheating's pretty wrong, so I like to... Who are you fucking talking to?
Honestly, if that was a real... because he did say, like, this is someone I've run into before. I want to meet this person.
I do too!
Have you guys ever heard the quote, "We see the world not as it is, but as we are"?
I was hoping you'd say, as it do.
We see the world not as it be, but as we think it do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus.
But I think I have heard that quote before, yes.
If he thinks that this many people are cheating,
Maybe he's cheating.
It's so... Yeah, really, like, what the fuck,
is
dude?
is he the dice tosser?
Oh, shit.
I
How
would
to
say
be a
so.
great dice tosser?
Oh, man.
I just...
Yes, players roll dice
Yes,
under
he tells
or
us.
behind things purposefully. Or my personal favorite. Oh, it hit the plastic tub, so it doesn't count. Huh? My other favorite. Oh, it rolled off the book and landed on the table and gave me a number. No, it's got to land just on the book, otherwise it doesn't count.
I'll be honest, I hate it when people roll on, like, books and stuff. Like, not, like, open books, right? Like, paper.
Oh, yeah.
When they roll on
Oh, yeah.
paper, I'm like, what are you doing? That's
Yeah.
not how... Dice can't roll that way. It'll just...
Yeah, it's gonna fall into the middle
It's
of the
gonna
page.
absorb the shock.
Exactly. Which, like, you're both doing a disservice to yourself,
or it'll go into the spine.
yeah, something. Like,
If I see someone do that, I will absolutely call for a reroll.
yeah,
Because there's no way it's going to roll naturally because of like the shock absorbing properties of an open book.
yeah,
And the fact that the surface itself, by the nature of it being an open book, the surface is sloped and cocked.
Yeah,
exactly.
it's penis.
It is. It is penis
yes,
all
it-
over. But
yes.
people that roll into things and then it knocks into whatever, and then they go, "Oh, I don't like. Can I get it?" Unless it's cocked, nobody's gonna say yes to that.
Yeah.
Unless they really feel like being nice. Right?
Personally, I fucking hate the idea of rolling a dice on a book and it falling off and onto something because it personally it feels wrong to me
Sure.
because I feel like, oh, it fell, that messed up the roll. I know fully
Yeah,
that mathematically
I
it
was gonna
didn't.
say.
It doesn't mean
And,
But-
That's a little weird.
this is one of my goblins
Yeah,
that I
okay.
have in my head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brain goblins
the
are
way-
fucking annoying sometimes.
And the way that I fix this
Hmm.
is
It's by
that
cutting
when
off their hands.
Yes.
Sorry.
I, paralyzed by fear though I am, roll in a dice tray or in a
Yeah.
dice tower,
Yeah.
or just in an open space.
So
Where
because you fear the dice roll being.
I
fucked
fear
up.
I fear the dice falling off of a book.
As
I
do
just-
we all.
I just want to open a book and now have like one page open onto a table and just roll it down the pages just onto the table.
That actually gave me a shiver, like starting at like the tail of my spine and going up to my shoulders.
I'm so
Oh,
happy.
I hate it.
Oh, yes. I found it.
This and wet popsicle sticks are like the banes of my existence.
I can totally understand the wet popsicle stick though.
Ah,
But
okay, I need water.
No, the popsicle sticks will get wet.
No, there's no popsicle sticks in my mouth. It's okay. I
Okay.
checked.
And see, after that little exchange just there, I'm just looking at his face.
I know, right? Yeah.
Just, huh?
What the fuck? Are you guys responding to my video? No, we're talking about fucking popsicle sticks. Anyway.
Oh man.
The amount of
Oh,
logic
is
is
that-
equal.
Yes.
That a thing. If that's a house rule, fine. But if it's only applicable to one player and every other player just accepts where the dice land, sure. In my own games, I have a rule. If it's on the floor, if you couldn't hit the table in the first place, you can't hit the creature. So if the dice rolls off of the table and lands on the
off.
floor,
Wow.
you re-roll the dice.
Oh,
That's
okay.
a standard
Yeah,
house
yeah.
rule. But the
Okay.
fact that it didn't land on your particular piece of blue paper and landed on the table, that just allows you a re-roll when you don't like it, doesn't it? Now, I'm not saying that's cheating.
Because I was
but
able-
It certainly sounds like it.
It certainly allows me a reroll when I don't like it, when I'm able to accurately predict it's going to be a 2, so I aim it off the paper.
It's just
If I re-roll everything that lands off of like the place where I want it to be, and I'm doing this consistently, and it rolls off and it happens to be a nat 20, there is no one at the table who's going to go, oh well, you can keep the 20. No,
Yeah.
everyone's going to go, oh wow, a shame. That's
Yeah.
a waste of a 20.
Exactly. I
Yeah.
just I'm not saying that's cheating, but
But
Yeah, he says that a fuck ton.
it's so annoying.
maybe not. Should you?
Yeah.
I don't know.
We've spoken about the multi-roller, who rolls multiple dice at once and then chooses which one it should be, or
So
is
much
always,
disdain.
It's always the blue one in 6 different
Well, that's
shades
'cause
of
he's
blue.
British.
Sure, which one is that?
It's true.
Exactly? My other favorite is someone who does this. Make a roll, please. Which one of those was your roll? Oh no! I'm warming the dice up. This is the actual roll.
I think I did this my first session of D&D when I was still unused to rolling D20s.
Yeah.
Mm.
I think
And,
I've seen this
like,
before too.
I had a tendency to like throw the dice across the table
Yeah.
like a fucking
Ooh.
spastic.
Yeah.
Hey, you can't say that. It's offensive to people across the pond.
It is actually. Yeah.
It is.
It is.
What? Wait, what?
Yeah.
Spastic is technically offensive to
That just means
the
you're
Brits.
twitchy.
No,
That
no,
just
no.
means you're
In,
twitchy.
in America. That's what it means.
in America, that's what it means. But in England, actually.
Well, in America is where I said it.
True,
Dude,
And
I
that's
don't-
what I'm
I-
always-
yeah, that's fine.
We don't fucking care.
No.
I'm just letting you know. So if anybody calls you out now, you know why.
Yes.
But
Anyway,
nobody watches
regardless.
the series anyway, so who gives a shit?
No, actually, that's not true.
we have at least 3 fans. All
Yeah.
right.
Oh, that's good.
I talked to them all personally.
Oh.
That's not true.
Uh,
Or
Anyway,
is it?
cut their hands off. No.
Cut their
I
hands
don't,
off.
I don't know. Everyone better be checking their DMs. The one person who I don't talk to personally is going to be sweating.
So sorry. What was your point with rolling the dice that way?
Oh,
that you've done
Literally,
it.
I've done it just because, like, to try to warm up and be like, okay, this is how I do it, because I want to roll properly, because if I roll properly, I will have good luck.
He's
Luck.
I was gonna say that's a superstition thing, which we'll get to apparently.
Mhm.
But again, I guess yes, this is kind of annoying, yes. But again, what you
if
can
anyone did it, which no
do,
one does.
what you can do is say, could you just roll when? Did you just roll it once when I need you to roll it, please?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And you can roll it however you want to when it's not your turn.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I have people that absolutely will do warm-up rolls while it's not their turn.
Yeah. There you
And they'll
go.
just be there shaking their dice like in anticipation of their turn.
Yeah. That's
And then when
totally
their turn
fine.
goes, boom.
Totally fine.
Yeah, go for it. Like, they're your dice, you bought them. If you want to stack them in a tower, if you want
Yeah.
to pre-roll, pre-roll, drugs. If like, you do what you want with them, so long as you're not blatantly disturbing the game.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Doesn't he talk about dice towers in this video too, Boo?
Fucking hope so.
I think so. I don't remember.
I
Great.
know I've heard him talk about dice towers. I'm just not sure if it's this video or not.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Coming up. I mean to say that this now is the final.
Oh, you.
No one.
Sorry, wrong dice.
Oh my god, no one does this. Okay, alright. I was giving you the benefit of the doubt before with the whole, some people roll before they do it and then they'll. Yeah, but no, they continue once they're called out? No, of course not. No one fucking does this. You fucking clod. Oh my god.
I can't say that.
It's offensive in the Netherlands.
I was gonna say in Sweden.
I should be using this dice. Yeah. There we go. Oh yeah, that's better. That's a 9.
That was a D12.
Don't do it. Just don't do it. Everyone knows that you're cheating, and that is the lowest form of humanity. Do not.
Murderers, rapists, dictators, cheaters in RPGs.
Yep.
Oh, I'm sorry, sir. If I
You guys ever hear of a man by the name of Hitler? Man, oh
yeah,
man.
he cheated in RPGs. What a fucker.
Second worst guy in hell. Right after Jimmy McDipshit rolls a D12 after being called to roll a D20.
I can't actually believe that. Are you fucking kidding me? It annoys you that much. Are you actually real? Are you a human being?
I have wondered.
I don't know, Alejo. Is this annoying you that much?
Yes.
I don't know. Maybe not.
I'll say it's doing more than annoying me. It's making me angry.
Right?
That's not just an annoyance. He's accusing so many things of just being cheating, and also now saying that you're just scum. You're just fucking scum.
Despite, to me, like, how angry I am at this, I am shocked at the fact that he's more red than I am. This guy is about to have a heated gamer moment about the scum dice tossers. Bottom rung of humanity. F-tier humans.
I can't get over. It's a fucking scum of the earth. It's just. Oh no! I rolled a second die and I took that one. I'm the scum.
Took food out of the mouth of my child that does not cheat at dice. Took my Mima, threw her down the stairs, but he always rolls the first time.
Oh, I just need to hear it again.
Oh, please.
I love this face, by the way.
That's a thumbnail right there.
That's a good face.
Actually, no, it's just the shape of the thumb.
Oh my god.
9. Don't do it. Just don't do it. Everyone knows that you're cheating, and that is the lowest form of humanity. Do not do that.
Single cell organism.
So multiple rolling or multiple rolls before you actually decide on which one is applicable to the dice, to the call, is not acceptable. Then my other favorite.
I would rather someone rape my child than cheat in my D&D game.
Lowest form, dude. I'm aiming to be the lowest form. All I gotta do is go, hey guys, guess what I roll? And then I roll a 1, and then they're like, what'd you... I guess, I think it was a 1, and I go, nope. And then I'm the lowest form.
Satan was in the Garden of Eden playing D&D with Adam and Eve. And Adam said, make an attack roll, and Satan said, I got a 23.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god, it's so good.
Like, don't cheat at D&D, but like,
Yeah, no, don't do it. You're the scum of the earth, but also
I'll kick you out of my group and I'll cut off your hands, but I will never say that you are the absolute lowest scum of humanity.
That's fair, yeah. That's just lowest form, dude.
Dude, man, those Romans had it right. Sacrificing children to Juno, but like,
oh man,
their hands policy was pretty good.
Oh, I'm fucking crying.
Oh, it's so good. Oh man.
Oh, all right.
All right, I think I'm redder than he is right now.
Yeah.
I want to make a perception check. I got an 8. Sorry, did you roll the dice multiple times, or just roll the dice randomly and then decide, oh, I'm going to use that number for a check?
I had a player do this.
I was gonna say, yeah, this is a valid criticism. If you roll without announcing beforehand what you're doing, that's not good. Don't do that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, like, and that's something I've been guilty of for a long time, and it came from a place of like wanting to try to keep the action moving, and instead of everyone at the table pausing while I mentally add things up in my mind, to just say like, oh, perception check 24, like 10 plus 14.
I remember that. Yeah.
Absolutely did that. Like, doesn't mean I was cheating, and it's why I'm usually a bit more forgiving of that.
Oh yeah.
But I also did not roll perception check 37.
Yeah, that's not something that anyone does. But the rolling beforehand and actually saying something after the fact, yeah, that's something that a lot of people do. And it's a habit that should be weeded out.
Yes. One of my players did do that. He would roll 3 times and then said, oh, charisma check such and such with this person. And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean I rolled it? And I'm like, you rolled 3 times. I don't know what the first one you rolled may have been higher. I don't care. You can't roll for this now. Someone else can roll.
Yeah, exactly. Penalize it if something like that is happening.
Yeah. I only had to do that to him twice. He never did it again.
There you go.
Good.
Easily enough.
Yep.
Yeah. So those are things that really get me irritated. My other favorite one, I don't think I can do it here, is people who build towers of dice during the game, because they're obviously not listening, they're bored. And then they do that, and then they do that, and then
pretty good.
they do that, and then they go, oh, my dice tower collapsed. Really? in the middle of a game. That's what we want. That's really what we want. That's what we want. And then there's dice all over the floor. They're everywhere. They've made a mess, and you've completely disrupted the game.
I mean, no.
No, game can keep going on, actually.
There's usually like a pause of like, oh no, and then we keep going.
Yeah.
And
I imagine that the situation that he's describing can happen if it's the player who's like really excuse me, if it's the player who's really loud, or maybe not the player, the character or the player who's really loud and boisterous and talks a lot.
Oh, sure.
And likes to be the center of attention, and they are getting bored because it's a talking scene with another player, and they do that, and then they're loud and obnoxious. That can happen. But
sure.
Most times, I think it won't.
I was gonna say, in that case, like, then you gotta have a talk with that player.
Yeah, exactly.
I will absolutely not criticize players for building dice towers under a few specific conditions. Firstly, if you're going to build a dice tower, be decent at it. Yes. Because if your dice are falling over and clattering all over the table every 10 seconds, then yeah, we're going to have a problem, because that's a noise disturbance.
Yes.
But if you're fairly decent at building dice towers and you just need something to fiddle with your hands while doing it, I absolutely fiddle all the time. It's why I pick locks while we're doing these videos. And I, as a DM, have built dice towers during like 20-minute scenes where my players are just talking to each other, because I'm like, I don't have to do anything. I can just listen to what they're saying and build a dice tower. So due to D&D being a type of game, or a lot of tabletop games in general, having times when your character is not saying anything and you're letting another character have the spotlight to say things or do things or have a big climactic moment, or two members of your party are talking to each other while the rest of you guys are listening. If you're building a dice tower during that downtime, so to speak, go for it. But yeah,
I would actually like to bring up a argument that I just thought of in association with that one. For the ones who are bad at making dice towers, is them having their dice fall not dissimilar to when people just kind of roll them just to roll them.
Just to roll? Yeah.
So
then
I'd say the difference lies within, at least personally, I would say the difference for me, at least personally, is for if the dice tower falls, the dice are all going to be clicking and clacking with each other. Whereas I, at least personally, play with a velvet lined thing. A dice rolling multiple times isn't going to affect anything. Also going to grab something real quick. I'm just going to throw myself on mute.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's just an interesting thing to note, because like I also do that. I also have a rolling tray that has like velvet.
Yeah, I do too.
But they still make noise.
Yeah, they still
like,
make noise.
Dice still make noise.
Yeah.
I'm just
regardless.
I'm just trying to see the difference. That's all.
Yeah, I think his issue, another one of his issues, is that I don't believe he does online games. I think he does only in-person games.
Sure.
And I think if you were sitting in I don't know, you do in-person games, both of you, right? Is it distracting at all when people are building dice? Because personally, I've never actually done an in-person D&D game.
I'll absolutely watch them like stack it together with like a bit of tension, like, oh, is it going to hold?
I don't care one way or the other.
At all? No? Okay.
No,
I mean,
not
I'm
really
easily able to just kind of pay attention to what I want to pay attention to.
Okay.
Yeah. I can split my attention up 2 or 3 ways and focus on all of them. So
yeah. Okay. Because I was just thinking that that could be that could be an issue for people. Like, I mean, it just might get other players or the DM distracted.
Absolutely, it could. Absolutely, it could.
But I don't know.
Again, I also don't know if it does. I think every group has the dice tower builder in it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I do it too.
Yeah. So like,
yeah. Who knows?
You have a bunch of like different polygonal little math rocks. The most natural thing is to want to stack them.
Yeah.
Hate those people. Other people, when there's an action happening and the player who's got the action to do says, "Oh, I need another d6. Can I use a d..." You can't use my dice. Only my hands can touch my dice.
Oh.
What?
Or Bailey.
What?
Yeah.
You're superstitious. Really? So if someone else touches your dice, they're broken.
This is where I checked out of the
If
video.
they are that...
I was gonna say, like, dude, just let people believe what they want to believe.
Yeah.
His justification for this made me like actually
Oh,
scream.
I'm excited. Okay.
in tune to you, that they're only going to roll well for you, that's cheating. The dice work for you, but they don't work for anyone else. That's a loaded dice.
Are you fucking kidding me? Are you actually? Did you guys fucking prank me? Is this a caricature? Are you kidding me right now?
I've looked into whether or not this is a bit. I think he's legit.
I cannot accept that this is an actual point he is making here.
Actually, let me see. I'm gonna go to the video. Let me see if it was April 1st.
Dude, I hope not.
Nope, July 19th.
Yeah, okay, cool. Okay, so let me explain something to you here.
Yes.
If I believe that my dice are going to roll better in my hands only, apparently my superstitious powers enable my dice to roll better. And that's cheating.
Cut your hands off.
Gotta cut my own hands off.
That is not his point. His point is that if you believe that your dice have a certain amount of luck to them, and you are doing your best to try to maintain that luck and maintain increased performance, that by your attempt to get better numbers is an attempt to fudge your dice, and as such, whether it is logical or illogical, you are cheating.
Okay, mine was outlandish to a point of absurdity, but that is even more so.
Because he counteracts his own point, because he's saying it's fine, but the fact that you don't think it's fine and the fact that you continue with it makes it not fine.
I just don't. I don't see why this would be any sort of reasoning in a sane person's mind. How do you go and you think that this is how the world works? Apparently, like,
if you so believe in that sort of thing, that's fine. But then just know that if they're specifically attuned to you to help just you, that's cheating. Because
it's fine. And that's not fine.
Hey man, did you know that magic items are real?
Yeah, you need to
they're only attuned to me. I have several magic items, actually. See, one of them is my phone.
Yeah,
to me.
Right.
Nobody else can figure out how to navigate it. My car,
my fucking password.
It takes you a little bit of time to actually get to learn how to drive my car like the same way I would. So yeah, you have to take some time to attune to it.
I have my seat set just right, so it's attuned to me.
Yeah,
I can't. You can't be serious.
You know what I'm hearing from this guy? We should kill Laura Bailey.
Yeah,
Laura
right?
Bailey is superstitious as fuck with her dice.
Exactly.
She's cheating, which makes her the lowest scum of humanity. Hands aren't enough to cleanse this sin.
It's so... does he even like Critical Role is what I want to know, first off.
I don't get the impression that he would.
I feel like he wouldn't either.
He's not running it.
Yeah, exactly.
He actually has a video where he calls Matt Mercer one of the best DMs you can possibly be.
Then what? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Okay, head is
Alright.
going in hands.
I just, you is there no funny frog picture anywhere that you're gonna put in just to like Pepe hands me right now, please?
Nah, dude, this is Among Us.
No, goodness.
That's not the idea behind a dice. It's supposed to be a random number generator, not a favored number generator.
Get fucked.
Right? People who go, oh, can I borrow your D20? Okay, great, thanks. And then another player goes, where's my D20? Where's my dice? All of my dice are gone. Oh, sorry, yeah, I've got them here. I'm going to give them back. If you're going to borrow other people's dice, that's fine. But then give them back so that they don't then have to borrow dice from someone else.
Dude, having it slip out of your mind is just the fucking worst. It's just, you shouldn't, ooh, you just, fuck you, dude. Really? Like, actually?
Oh, man. Oh, it's so good.
Jesus Christ.
If you've already had to borrow dice because you didn't bring enough, that's your fault, and you've slowed the game down. But
Hey, little Timmy, you want to play D&D? Okay. Hey, you bought one set of dice? Great. Oh, you need 2 D20s in order to fucking roll for advantage? I'm sorry, you're too poor to actually buy another set? Oh, that sucks, dude. Get fucked.
Well, to be fair, we don't like playing with poor people, so...
Like, is it not taking that to its logical standpoint of, like, you don't have enough dice, get fucked, for whatever reason? That's what you're presenting.
Yeah, I guess so.
Here's your meme frog for you, Alejo.
Please.
There you go.
There,
Suffering his
there's
hands.
there's
Cut them off.
Hold on, let me just go give me a little Pepe action in here. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, look at that Pepe. Yeah, monkus, dude, super monkus. I can't.
I thought Monka S was the one with him sweating.
Well, this one says Monka on it. I don't actually remember. Oh, fuck.
Yeah, Monka S is the sweating,
Oh,
scared
okay.
one.
Gotcha. Okay. But still, like, seriously, dude. What the fuck?
Oh, man.
If you have now taken someone else's dice as well, you've slowed the game down twice. Now, the whole point behind this dice tirade is simply this. Dice are there to facilitate the game. They are not the game, otherwise you would just be playing a dice-based game, and there's plenty of awesome ones out there. They're not there to slow the game down. They're not there to distract everybody else from the game. They're not there for any other function other than to generate numbers. You can have pretty dice. You can really have pretty dice. Go ahead. Get stuff.
No, you can't. By your reasoning, then we shouldn't have them because they're a distraction, because people want to look at the pretty dice.
I wonder how this guy would feel about using a random number generator, because that random number generator, you don't know how it rolls.
Exactly.
That's a distraction. It could be weighted.
The parameters could be set so you only roll specific things. It's cheating. Cut your hands off. Cut your hands.
Cut your mouse cord.
Yeah.
Try typing with no hands.
It can be done. Cut your feet off. Cut your nose off. Cut your head off.
Stop!
Lowest form of humanity.
Stop! Burn them!
Oh, man.
This is... Oh.
That looks cool. But make sure that just because it looks cool doesn't mean that it stops working for the game. And if it's going to irritate other people, you have to check your catalogue of interpretations of whether this is a number or an elvish rune.
Shut the fuck up.
a strange symbol that sometimes is a 6 and sometimes is a 1, depending on which situation you're in.
That's not a thing.
Those actually are a thing.
What?
For certain custom like board games, they'll have dice that come with them. That like if you have one elder sign,
Well, yeah.
then that elder sign is a 1. But if you have 2 elder signs, then both of them are 6s.
Well, that's the thing. For those, they have the rules set out.
Yes.
But you can still use a like I have D6s with I have a whole dice set with elder signs on them, and they are the maximum number of each of the dice.
Yeah, same.
It's not fucking hard.
Yeah.
Like
if you see a number, it's the number. If you see a symbol, it's the max.
I have those too.
Yeah.
All of that kind of stuff.
And you could combine the rune thing with the oddly shaped dice thing.
Yeah.
And you would have a point.
Yeah, then it becomes something like if every single thing is not just a number, it's something you have to actually know what the runes stand for. Absolutely, then you have a point. Oh man, great, good for you. But you didn't do that, did you? Because that's not a thing that people do.
Can we shift this like a couple seconds forward? His lips look like a prolapsed anus, and I'm not about it. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I was gonna play it anyway, because I'm just...
We do our 3 minutes, boyos.
I just want this to be over.
Or maybe it's more like 1 and then
everybody else
so.
having fun. Or it makes you look like a cheater. If you really want to have that sort of brand on your head, well then so be it. I really, really don't think that it's any title that anyone would want. Now I've got
you ascribe that to it.
Got that off my chest. I need some excitement, some happiness. I'm going to try an experiment to end this video, and I hope for their sake it works. Now that
this is the
I spoke about earlier.
Basically, he just goes into these dice, and they're just glow in the dark dice. That's it.
Oh, okay.
So he just tries to make them glow.
Cool. I don't give a fuck then.
So that's over. You lived barely.
I can't believe that that's a vid. He's proud of that video.
Yep.
He's proud of that. You know he's fucking proud of that because he made it and he put it on his channel and how do you even think like this? Some of his points, he had 3, I think.
Yeah, it was 3. The one where you roll and then immediately pick it up.
Yeah.
What were the other ones?
There is one point I thought he made, and because it's been a while since I watched the video the full way through, I thought he made, and he didn't, and it was something that I've noticed.
Sure.
One of my players in particular, I taught them early on that, like, if you're ever unsure of what a roll says, like, I don't know why you ever would be, but if you ever are, you can turn your dice over, and that number plus the one you rolled will always equal 21. So if you're unsure if it's a 6 or a 9, check if the other side is 15 or 12.
That's true.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And what this player does a lot of the time is he'll roll a dice, and it'll sit there, and he'll look at it, and then he'll pick the dice up, look at the opposite side, and then set it down, and then he'll tell me what he rolled.
Okay.
And I'm like, why? Why? And that does open the door to cheating because, like, say you roll a 4 and the 20 is right next to it, it would be very easy to pick the dice up, look at it, and then set it down so the 20's on the top.
Absolutely. Yep. I agree that is something that is prone to it, but I assume you have enough faith in this person.
I do. I do have faith in that player, and I've let him know. I'm like, yo, dude, just so you know, I'm not going to strictly ask you to stop because they're your dice, and I trust you, but I will let you know that does set my hair on edge as a DM.
Yeah.
And he said,
fair.
okay. And since then, he does it on occasion, but most of the time he doesn't.
There you go. That's good.
It's almost like communication with your players.
It's like the whole,
I don't know, like important.
The whole fucking point of the fucking show to talk.
Yes.
And discuss.
Yes.
Promote discourse.
Yes.
And discussion.
And discussion and just like.
But come on, man, you can cut their hands off.
But like, apparently, if you're fucking hand hungry, and you hate cheating that much.
If you've got the rumbly that only hands can satisfy.
Exactly, like
and
that's.
You suspect that a couple players are cheaters. I may have a solution for you.
It's absurd. It's actually absurd.
How many what was the like upvote to downvote ratio?
That's a great question. Clear, obviously, like we don't need to say it, but I will say it. Don't send hate to this guy.
Oh, yeah, of course not.
Please, just like if you agree with what we're saying, or if you agree with what he's saying for whatever reason, you know, like again, there's a like and a dislike button on the videos. Or for the ones that we watch, and there's a comment section where you can just say, I don't agree. And here's why.
Yeah.
Yeah, kindly just don't say, I think you're wrong. Say, I think you're wrong, and I think that this is right because this.
Yeah.
Back up your points.
I'm just lost for words. Like, it's just so baffling.
I actually happened to be talking with my players last Sunday.
Yeah.
And I was like, I mentioned to them the 5 monsters to throw at your players and how I thought it was good. One of my players watches like pretty much every D&D channel on YouTube.
Sick.
And I'm like, yeah, and I've like been watching a lot of Taking 20 videos recently, and my friend's like, yeah, and I'm like, and man, they're shit. And I just saw his face like kind of fall.
I know.
Like I started explaining why they're shit, and he's like, yeah. Well, it's like he's like, I was watching a How to Be a Great GM video the other day about that, and I'm like, I hate him twice. And I kind of like surprised him. It was the party paladin because he's like, oh yeah, there was a How to Be a Great GM published that. I'm like, I hate him. He's like, oh.
So one of the things that I want to point out is that these are the standards that people ascribe to. And that's just scary.
Yeah. This is how to be a great GM, Alejo.
Mm-hmm.
You don't do this.
No, I don't.
You're not. I guess you're not a great GM.
I'm not, and I'd rather not be. Honestly,
you're a filthy cheater who deserves to lose his hands.
Yeah, I deserve all my hands to be on the floor, and to just be called the scum of the earth, the lowest form of humanity.
Yes.
Let the cheaters hit the floor. Let the cheaters hit the floor.
It's one of those things where people just kind of watch these things and they need to think about what's being said. Because when you go point by point, you actually pay attention to what these people are saying. Oh man. Not all the time.
Yeah.
But oh man. And I don't understand how these videos happen.
Yeah, and how like I feel like when people
how.
make videos that are like this, they need to run them by like an associate. It's like, hey, watch this, and like
that's the thing.
Watch it.
That's the thing. A lot of them are associated with each other.
Yeah. That's why.
No. I don't mean like great GM show a video to Taking 20. I mean great GM show it to like his editor. Like someone who's not even,
if he has one, or
yeah, you know what? Something like that.
The thing is, usually there's a lot of like-mindedness in editing, like for people who edit a video.
Yeah, it's true.
Which, I mean, is good when it's good, but for something like this, just have somebody who isn't even a part of the process.
Yeah, exactly.
Watch it.
As a quick thought experiment,
Sure.
you are an editor for a channel.
Okay.
And the person who gives you his paycheck hands you this shit, and your thoughts on it are the same as this. Are you going to call him a dice tosser to his face?
I would make the video, I would do the job, but afterwards I would give him my points of like, hello, this is not, are you actually like serious about this? Because this can be taken in such a way that is not anywhere near good. Yeah. Right? I try to put it in such a way that's diplomatic.
Mm-hmm.
And if they fire me for it, then good. I don't want to work for them if they're going to fire me over some criticism.
Yeah, it's true.
It's make the mistake of taking you seriously.
Again, it's criticism though, so like I feel like you shouldn't be afraid to criticize.
Yeah, but everybody's fucking afraid of criticism nowadays.
I know, and it's ridiculous, and that's another reason why I wanted this podcast to be a thing.
Yeah,
because criticism's important, man. It's fucking like take it to heart and like improve. It's how you improve is by finding out what's wrong with something and then working on it.
It's like and we're about to lose all of our Chinese listeners right about now as the Chinese government cracks down on this.
Sick.
Chinese dictator looks like Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah.
There is a man, let me look up his name because I don't want to get it wrong. Dude has my absolute respect. His name's Xu Shidong. XU space XIAODONG. And he's a Chinese MMA fighter.
Okay.
And he has sort of made a point of his whole career, because in China, what is practiced a lot over there is like the traditional Chinese like martial arts, the slow movements that are more similar to like calisthenics than actual
like Tai Chi
martial,
and stuff.
Yeah, than like martial practice to fight. And China was like, yo, dude, these traditional martial arts are way better than any fighting art the world over. And Tai Chi experts will absolutely kick the ass of anyone. And Xu Shidong was like, all right, let's fight. And he proceeded to start kicking the asses of the masters all over China.
Yeah.
And got into a bunch of trouble with the Chinese government.
There's
a picture of him wearing like blue and white face paint, and it's because that's similar to, in the Chinese like opera theaters, that's similar to clown face paint.
Gotcha.
And that's the only way that he could get on televised matches is by wearing clown face paint to like try to humiliate him, and he turned it into fucking war paint.
Hell
nice.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah, they've like lowered his social credit ranking, so he's not allowed to like leave the country or get on flights or take trains and stuff. And of course, all the people that are challenging him to fights are demanding that they do so at their dojos, which is really hard for him to get to. And if he doesn't make it there, they're gonna act like he's forfeiting the match.
Of course.
Wow.
And it just and my point with this is that martial arts are something that have over the years, and especially with things like MMA and like Krav Maga and stuff like that, they're developed and honed using the basis of what was previously thought to be good, and then people look at it and they strip away what's unnecessary and what's bad and create a polished, refined product.
Exactly.
And that is why criticism is so necessary for media in general is because in the end you will get a finer product if people take these changes to heart.
Absolutely.
And then if that doesn't work, cut off their hands.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, cut off their hands.
Cut off
See
their
them
hands.
out of hand.
Yes.
Yep. Well, I think that's gonna be it for us for today.
Yeah.
So
what do we want to talk about next?
It's a great question. I do not have a good answer for you right now.
Okay.
I am fucking exhausted. So I'm welcome
for a surprise episode.
Yeah, I'm welcome to suggestions, of course. But yeah, closing thoughts. I would say. Oh, go on.
I would throw in. We could cover some of XP to level 3 stuff. We haven't touched any of his stuff.
It's true. That's true. That was one of the channels that I wanted to look at some of the stuff.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we should also cover RuneSmith. RuneSmith has a ton of really good
RuneSmith is really good, yeah.
RuneSmith's fantastic. I've been delving into his videos for the past week, and oh my god, they're so good.
I've actually followed him since he started his channel, which is like great to just watch him progress. It's been great.
Nice.
I really want his codex that he actually just came out with, or he's got the Kickstarter for.
Oh yeah. I took a look at that.
Yeah, Stibble's
codex.
codex.
The guide to guardian
companions.
Yeah.
But yeah. So let's get our closing thoughts out there for Boo.
Don't cheat. There you go.
Okay. Yeah.
Don't be an ass. Don't cheat.
It's good.
There you go.
Yeah. Aiden.
Oh, where to begin? Just, man, have discussion with everyone at the table.
Yeah.
Set common ground rules and expectations. If you want to house rule certain ways to roll dice, or to set expectations for what the campaign is like, or certain ways to have character development, or like share the spotlight with people, just talk to the table, man. Don't cheat.
Cheating. Don't cheat. Cheating's bad. Good.
Okay. Yeah. I feel I've said everything I have to say.
Yeah, really.
Sounds undefeated.
Well, it's one of those things.
How to be a great GM has that effect on me.
I didn't expect for this. I really didn't.
Yeah.
I have to say a few things of everything that's been said. Don't cheat. Talk. Just fucking remember to have discussion with people. Definitely don't. If you are a content creator of any sort, please, if you are actually proud of your work, please listen to criticism about it. And please have somebody look it over.
Consider also not only what you say in your content, but what people will hear.
Exactly. Yes. There are implications to things that you could potentially make that you did not want to. And again, I benefit of the doubt to this not being not supposed to sound as fucking bad as it does, but it fucking does.
Yeah,
it's real bad. If you're listening to us on the audio only version, make sure to give us a nice little rating, review, whatever, and follow us through whatever medium you are choosing that you are choosing to listen to us. If you're over on the YouTube channel, don't forget to subscribe if you're new, and rate the video with a thumbs up or thumbs down, and leave a comment about whether or not you agree or disagree with points. It would be really interesting.
And if you're seeing us on Yelp, be sure to give us 5 stars.
Yep. Yep. That's
Be sure to save $50 off your first purple mattress with
promo
code TableTalk.
Shut up. No.
And if you subscribe within the next 20 minutes, you get an extra 40,000 silver in Arknights.
Oh my god. No.
I don't even know if silver's what they use in that game.
That's fair enough.
check out WASD20 and
Please.
How to Be a Great GM.
Yes.
If you think that they're worthy of your love, show them some love.
Exactly.
If you don't think that they're worthy of your love, don't hate on them.
Exactly.
Now, I will say this,
That's
though.
my job.
Yeah, same.
We shat all over this video.
Yeah.
However, I've actually watched a great many videos from How to Be a Great GM, and most of his rants, like the top whatever things that people do, the dice, how you might be doing dice, are you a toxic player, bad DMing styles, whatever. All those lists are fairly subjective. Well, okay, they're entirely subjective, and most of them are pretty bad. However, most of his videos on writing and story and narrative and world building are actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I've actually, most of the time while we were watching this video, because I've actually seen the dice video a couple times because I thought it was funny. I was actually looking through some of the videos of his that I really, really liked, and I found them, and I'm gonna be putting them in the Discord if you guys ever want to watch them.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, because they're actually really damn good.
Yeah, we'll get to them at some point.
I'm always willing to broaden my horizons in terms of how to write and establish worlds. And fortunately, talents for that are fairly universal.
Yeah.
Unless if you're a fucking RPG pundit.
Yeah.
God.
So I hate to be the odd one out, but I'm the one who's going to defend How to Be a Great GM.
Dude, no, that's absolutely fine. Yeah. That's a good. Honestly, having that perspective is good.
Having multiple perspectives is great to avoid echo chambers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, like, even when I watch him, even as a fan, if I ever watch one of his rants, I always take it with like an entire cup of salt.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Fair enough. No.
Yeah.
If you like his content for what his content is, good for you.
Yeah.
I personally have not had very good experiences, but I am willing to check out those other videos and hope that
you're gonna have to repeat that. What the fuck did you say?
Yeah, you cut out a bit.
I said, if you enjoy his content, good for you. The experiences that I have not been too great. But I'll check out the other videos probably.
Okay.
And I will hope that I'm wrong about his channel.
Okay, see, when you said I am when you're like hopefully wrong on his channel, it's just
it was kind of great.
Yeah, it was really weird.
I might actually listen to this podcast.
Wow. Yeah, the first impression is not great. It's unfortunate, but it's not great.
So I'll give you a couple videos that we can watch another time that are actually very good.
Exactly.
Once we've cooled off.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, I think that's everything. Oh, don't forget to read your player's handbook.
Yes.
Fucking please, Jesus Christ. Fucking read it. Again.
Otherwise you are the lowest scum of society.
Yes.
Again, even if it's just for your class. Just take the time to read the bullet points that you need, all right? And just read about the abilities, and then you're good, okay?
Yeah.
I don't care if you don't know how to shove something, right? Just know that what you can do.
Yes.
Anyway. All right. I think that's everything, so...
Yep.
That's a goodbye from me, everyone.
That's
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye now.
Bye.
Bye.
Ugh.